Chapter 4853. When Qin Guohua asked this question, everyone's gaze focused on Gao Buiyuan. He actually wanted to give everyone a surprise, but I asked him the other day. He said that he still has a project to do, so he won't be coming back. After Gao Buiyuan said that, he felt a little awkward and lowered his head. Forget it, forget it. If he doesn't come back, so be it. Our pudding doesn't care. Although Little Bean always bickered with her sister, she was still unhappy to hear that her sister was wronged. Therefore, she naturally spoke up for her sister. GK headquarters. After Pudding finished her work, she remembered that someone else had arrived today. Just as she was thinking, her chauffeur called. President Qin, I've sent him to the company. Do you want me to go straight to your office? Yes, bring him here. Okay, I'll be upstairs in 5 minutes. After hanging up the phone, Pudding was still a little nervous. She stood up and took a few deep breaths. All these years, as long as it was someone related to him, she would carefully interact with them. Although they had already forgotten and couldn't remember, but she had all the memories. 5 minutes later, the office door opened. Pudding looked at the familiar figure and almost cried. Uncle, and Pudding said, Pudding, I'm not late, am I? And smiled honestly. After Master Wu erased everyone's memories and also lost all his memories, he no longer had any obsession with Su Yu, so he naturally wouldn't stay in Su Yu's private mansion anymore. At first, Pudding introduced him to her father to be the company's security manager. Later on, and couldn't get used to the life in the big city, so he returned to his hometown. And his hometown was in a remote mountain area. When he returned to the area, he used his savings to build a 2-story house. He even married a girl from a neighboring village and had a son and a daughter. He contracted a fish pond in his hometown and raised some rare fish. His income had been quite good these few years, and didn't even remember how he met Pudding. He vaguely remembered that he used to work for a big boss. He had protected the big boss for many years. Later on, the big boss moved away or something else happened. His memory of that was blurry. However, the money in his bank card was real. He also vaguely remembered that he had known Pudding and her family for many years. After and returned to the mountains, he rarely came to Sea City. This time, it was Pudding who called him in advance and invited him to the coming-of-age ceremony. He was really flattered. Why didn't Annie come? Pudding asked with a smile. She still has to take care of the 2 kids at home. Uncle Shaoan, I'll bring you home later. You can stay at my house for the next few years. Don't feel uncomfortable. Everyone misses you. Yes. Shaoan nodded. Although he came back mainly to attend Pudding and Little Bean's coming-of-age ceremony, and had a vague feeling that there was someone more important, but he just couldn't remember. That feeling was very strange. Uncle, and how much do you remember about the past? To be honest, maybe it's because my head was injured when I was in the army, so my memory has been deteriorating for the past few years. I don't really remember much about the past. It's very vague. Do you still remember Lu? Pudding stopped halfway through her sentence. Forget it. When you see her, you'll probably remember her. Pudding smiled. Because of the loss of his memory, and couldn't even remember Lu Yan. How would he react when he saw her again? Pudding knew it was inappropriate for her to gather so many people, but in fact, she just wanted to use this method to miss Su Yu, the man who was very, very important to her life. Chapter 4854. Inside a small pavilion on top of South Hill Manor, Rick and Qin Chu sat side by side, overlooking the scenery of the city. The 2 men's hearts calmed down. You didn't expect me to live such an ordinary life, right? Rick asked Qin Chu. Yeah, I thought you'd become the next godfather of the underworld. That's not important to me. If it weren't for my brother, I wouldn't have. I might still be here, running the seductive fox bar that belongs to me. To me, being a bar owner is enough. Life's trajectory isn't something we can control. Many times, no matter how hard you try, things won't go the way you want. We call it fate, Qin Chu said. What? You're old now, so you're playing chicken soup for the soul? Rick teased him. Qin Chu smiled faintly. He was still as handsome as ever. Chu, yeah? You and Wamin had a wedding? Qin Chu's eyes flashed, and he fell slightly silent. You love her so much, you don't seem like someone who doesn't care about giving her a title. Although a wedding is just a formality, it's also a symbol of a lifetime commitment. You 2 have 3 children now, and they're all grown up. You're both over 40 years old. Are you really not going to have a wedding? That's not what I want. It's what Mian wants. Then why did Huamin do it? She knows how much you love her and how much you want to announce your happiness to the world. Rick didn't understand. He didn't know why Huamin was doing this. Because they had all lost their memories of Suyu, Rick couldn't remember why Huamin was so persistent. She didn't say, and I didn't ask. I don't want to make things difficult for her. You know, I've never had the heart to make things difficult for her, Qin Chu said slowly. Do you want me to ask for you? No, it's fine like this. Besides the wedding, we already have everything. As you said, our children are all grown up. The whole world knows that Huamin is Qin Chu's wife, so it really doesn't matter. Really? If it's true, you wouldn't be so disappointed. As Qin Chu's best friend, Rick had always known the only regret in Qin Chu's heart. After their wedding had been ruined by Hua Xiqian, Qin Chu had always wanted to prepare for a grand wedding. He wanted to give his wife a beautiful memory, even the most beautiful memory of her life. However, Huamin no longer mentioned the wedding. Qin Chu occasionally mentioned it, but Huamin subconsciously avoided the topic. Qin Chu couldn't bring it up again. In the blink of an eye, the twins were already 18 years old. Huamin and Qin Chu were both middle-aged. Rick thought that they shouldn't be like this. South Hill Manor. After arriving at the hospital, Huamin had a simple meeting, dealt with some work, and came home early. Gao Ran and his family had arrived early. Zhu Lingling helped Huamin wash the fruits for lunch. She didn't forget to complain. Mian, I'm telling you, my heartless son came straight to your house after leaving the airport. I know. Little Bean and Yuan went to pick up Wei Yuan. Huamin was calm. So, is our Wei Yuan a typical example of forgetting his mother after marrying a wife? No. He hasn't even married yet, and he's already forgotten his mother. How sad. It's okay. He'll be filial to his father-in-law and mother-in-law in the future. Get out of my way. My son was taken away by your family for no reason. Zhu Lingling pinched Huamin's neck. She was as energetic as when she was young. Where's Xiaowei? Why are you so late today? Huamin glanced around but didn't see Jiang Xiaowei. Chapter 4855. Zhu Lingling suddenly remembered. Oh, by the way, she just called me and said that she and her husband had something to do and would come over later. Oh, okay. I'll save a portion for her. All these years, Huamin's friendship with Zhu Lingling and Jiang Xiaowei remained unchanged. The three of them had never had any unhappiness, even though Pudding and Wei Yunchu had blocked each other. Huamin and Jiang Xiaowei were still as close as ever. Whenever she had something delicious or good, she would think of them. Huamin carefully peeled the fruits and placed them on a fruit plate. He even saved a portion for Jiang Xiaowei and put in the fridge, wrapped in plastic wrap. When Pudding drove in within, he saw Tang Tianjiao sticking to Qiao Tuanshuan like a dogskin plaster. He wanted to follow Qiao Tuanshuan wherever he went. I said, "Are you a dogskin plaster? Don't follow me. If you agree to take me as your disciple, I won't follow you." It turned out that Tang Tianjiao had been beaten up and was shamelessly pestering Qiao Tuanshuan to be his disciple. Qiao Tuanshuan was so annoyed that he was going crazy. If I don't take in disciples, I'm afraid I won't teach my skills to others. Then I'll follow you. Tang Tianjiao was so shameless that no one could mess with him. If you follow me, I'll beat you up. Qiao Tuanshuan waved his fists as if he was going to use force. If you beat me up, I'll tell my aunt. Tang Tianjiao said confidently. Qiao Tuanshuan. Who was Tang Tianjiao's aunt? Of course, it was Huamin. Huamin was Qiao Tuanshuan's beloved aunt. Therefore, he didn't want his aunt to show up. Qiao Tuanshuan felt that he had been tricked by Little Bean. The moment he arrived, he provoked a dog skin plaster and sat in Pudding's car. When they came in, the car was very slow and vaguely saw a familiar face. He saw Qiao Tuanshuan, who was arguing with Tang Tianjiao at the door. Qiao Tuanshuan looked a bit like Lu Yin, but he also looked like Xiao Fei. That little girl looks familiar, and mumbled. Pudding just drove calmly and didn't answer. After parking the car and got out of the car. At this time, Qin Chu and Rick also came back from the top of the mountain. Dad, look who's here. Pudding smiled at Qin Chu. President Qin, long time no see. Xiaoan respected Qin Shu very much, so when he saw Qin Shu, he greeted him very politely. Xiaoan, Qin Shu was also very close. He walked over and chatted with Xiaoan for a while, asking him about his situation in his hometown in the past few years. Xiaoan returned to the fields. Among these people, he lived a relatively poor life, but he was the most relaxed. They were the most ordinary and ordinary people. "Where's Annie?" Pudding asked Xiao Yuan. "My mom is taking an afternoon nap at the swimming pool in the back garden," Xiao Yuan said. "Swimming pool? Afternoon nap. Annie sure has a personality." Pudding smiled and let in all the way in, and also greeted everyone. Looking at the familiar faces, many of Xiaoan's blurry memories came back, especially when he saw the two elders of the Su family. He had an inexplicable feeling in his heart. He shouldn't be familiar with them, but why was he so touched? Until he saw Lu Yin in the back garden. Lu Yin was only wearing a white V-neck long-sleeve shirt and a pair of tight dark blue jeans. She looked like a young girl. She was holding a book in her hand. It was a book about Zhou Yi. The book covered her face. She was probably taking a nap. "Auntie," Pudding called out. Lu Yin sat up lazily, removed the book from her face, and yawned, and looked at the familiar face, and his body trembled. "Lu Yin," he blurted out. All his memories of Lu Yin were instantly awakened. Pudding looked at him sideways and saw that he was very excited. Chapter 48:56. Hearing Anne's voice, Lu Yin turned her head and looked over. Then, her memory opened. Except for the part where she couldn't remember Su Yu, Lu Yin recalled all the memories about it. She was his goddess, an unattainable woman. He didn't even dare to think about it. Anne's calm eyes finally collapsed when he saw Lu Yin. Instead, it was replaced by the ecstasy and passion of a young man meeting his sweetheart for the first time. "Hey, you're here too. Long time no see. How are you?" Lu Yin stood up swiftly from the bench and tossed the book onto the bench with a smile on her face, and nodded excitedly. Good. I'm good. How about you, goddess?" "Me? I'm still the same." Then, they smiled at each other, and Pudding found an excuse to leave. She wanted to give Uncle a chance to talk to Annie Lu Yin alone. Although Qiao Fei was jealous, he wouldn't be jealous of it. After all, he knew that their statuses and thoughts were very different. In the back garden, Lu Yin naughtily climbed onto a high railing despite her age. Sitting on it, she swung her feet and crossed her legs, and stood below, still looking up at Lu Yin. He had never felt so peaceful before. It was as if it was only yesterday that he had accompanied Lu Yin to eat and stir up trouble in this city. Time is really a butcher's knife. Lu Yin glanced at him and saw that his sideburns had turned white. She sighed that time was unforgiving. Such poetic words didn't sound like something the crazy Lu Yin would say. "Sure enough," she continued, "but whether time is a butcher's knife depends on whether you're a pig or not." Do you think I've changed? All these years?" Lu Yin asked him. "You're still the same as before." After a pause, and said another word, "beautiful." She was still as beautiful as before. It wasn't a compliment, it was what Anne thought. Lu Yin's beauty was unparalleled in the world. Even Xiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuan were stunning at such a young age. Lu Yin smiled in satisfaction and nodded. "Yeah, I like that. I was just thinking that if you said I was old and ugly, I would beat you into a pig's head." And smiled foolishly. "Have you been training all these years? How's your martial arts? Do you want to spar with me?" No. I'll just admit defeat. Goddess, please don't torture me." Xiaoan was very sensible. Hearing that Lu Yin was going to fight, he surrendered immediately. He was not as arrogant as the young master of the Tang family. He had known Lu Yin's strength for a long time. Although many years had passed, he still did not dare to underestimate Lu Yin. So, before Lu Yin could play a prank on him, he refused. Xiaoan, there's something I don't understand. Since I ran into you today, I'd like to ask you. Please speak, goddess." Through the sunlight, and looked at Lu Yin, who was high up in the air, and felt satisfied that he could see her again in this lifetime. "Who was your employer back then? I vaguely remember that you used to be a bodyguard for an employer, but after all these years, I can't remember his name or what he looked like. I think I know him, but I just can't remember anything." Whenever I try to remember, my mind goes blank. This feeling is so fucking strange. Lu Yan's brain was actually very sensitive. After seeing in this time, she immediately thought of many unexplainable things, so she asked him directly, and was also stunned. Chapter 48:57. Because Lu Yan's feelings were so similar to his. He had been living and working in his hometown all these years, and still had so much money in his card. But what did he do in this city? Who he was a bodyguard for, his relationship with his employer, and all his memories were gone. It was like a roll of film tape. There was a beginning and an end, and everyone knew what the ending was, but the process in the middle was suddenly blurred. That feeling was getting weirder and weirder, Goddess, to be honest. I feel the same as you. I can't remember either. How can that be? Lu Yan was shocked. That's your employer. You've been by that person's side for so many years. So many years, you can't forget everything. Think carefully. Is that person a man or a woman, round or flat? Lu Yan's curiosity was completely aroused, so she wanted to get to the bottom of it, hoping to get something from it. However, and really couldn't remember. He told Lu Yan everything in his heart. Only then did Lu Yan realize that she and then had a common memory that had been magically erased. If she hadn't seen in, Lu Yan wouldn't have cared about this. Because in her heart, her father, Xiao Fei, her 2 daughters, and Huomin's family were the most important people. Now that she saw and Lu Yan's curiosity grew, she really wanted to know what the memory she had forgotten was. Who was the person she had forgotten? After putting scent and to meet her Andy, she went to see the children. These super rich second-generation heirs were especially close to each other. Little Bean, Boyan, Qinghua, young Master Tang, Xiao Tuanshuan, Xiao Yuanyuan, and Rick Sanjin were all there. Except for Zhixin's youngest daughter, Wei Ying's youngest daughter, and Enai Yang's children who hadn't gone abroad, everyone else was there. It's been a long time since I've seen so many people. Gao Buiyuan smiled and sighed. If only Yunshu was here. Young Master Tang didn't know how to read people's expressions and touched a sore spot. As soon as he said that, everyone looked at Pudding, afraid that she would be unhappy. But who was Pudding? That was very much like his parents' personalities, and it was not for show. Those who didn't know her well would never be able to see any emotions on her face. Only Little Bean knew that she still cared. Pudding didn't seem to hear Tang Tianjiao's words. She looked around and said, "Since there are so many people here, why don't we play a killing game? Please close your eyes when it's dark." I like that. Xiao Tuanshuan also liked to play brain-burning games. Everyone agreed to Pudding's suggestion. They all seemed to be very interested. Just like that, South Hill Manor had another particularly lively day. The children were playing games, and the adults were chatting about their daily lives. Huomin hadn't had such peaceful days in years. Sometimes she wondered if time had passed so quickly that she had forgotten something important. At this moment, in another space-time of a parallel world, Imperial Star Entertainment headquarters Su Yu's face was dark as he listened to the summary of the various departments after the failed bid. Everyone knew that the president was in a bad mood, so they didn't dare to speak loudly. Everyone was trembling in fear. At this moment, an ear-piercing ringtone broke the silence. Su Yu's cell phone rang loudly on the table. He looked down at the caller ID, and his eyes immediately became gentle. In the next second, Su Yu picked up the phone and said in an extremely gentle voice, "Momo, what's wrong?" "Daddy, I want to eat cake." The volume from Su Yu's phone wasn't low, so everyone in the quiet conference room heard clearly. The whole world knew that the 2 women Su Yu cared about the most were his wife, Huomin, and his daughter, Su Yimo. Chapter 48:58. Then, Daddy will go back and buy for you later, okay? Su Yu held the phone and didn't dare to speak too loudly, afraid that he would scare his daughter. "No, Daddy will come back now, not later." "Okay, I'll come back now." "Don't eat matcha. It's hard to communicate." Su Yimo's pronunciation wasn't very accurate, and her voice was cute. Su Yu felt that his heart was about to melt when he heard his daughter's voice through the phone. Okay. I want to eat matcha. See you later, Daddy." "See you later, Momo." After hanging up the phone, Su Yu's expression wasn't as gloomy as before. He stood up, and looked around at the higher-ups. That's all for today. Meeting adjourned. Then, Suyu turned around and left. All the higher-ups also stood up and left the venue. This wasn't the first time, and everyone was used to it. No matter how important President Su's matter was, it wasn't as important as his wife and child. Huamin and Su Yimo's matter was the most important matter. Suyu left the company and drove his Lamborghini Sixth Element to the most luxurious cake shop in the city. Other than matcha, he bought a set of all the other flavors for his daughter. Then, he drove back to his private villa at lightning speed. This villa was exactly the same as the one he had in another time and space. Suyu was a very nostalgic person. He would always inadvertently think of another time and space, as if it was something that happened in his previous life. When he reached home, Huamin was surprised to see Suyu. "Why are you back? What time is it?" Huamin looked at his watch. It was 9:30 in the morning. Suyu had breakfast at 7:30 and left home. It had only been 2 hours, and he was back. What was going on? Momo said that she wanted to eat cake. Suyu said seriously. Huamin was even more confused, but Momo just fell asleep. She just acted before she fell asleep. How can you take a child's words seriously? Huamin felt that Suyu was spoiling his daughter too much. They wished they could go up to the 9th heaven to catch the moon and go down to the 5 seas to catch turtles. But I can't break my promise to my daughter. I've already promised her. As he spoke, Suyu began to toss the cakes he had bought onto the dining table one by one. When Momo wakes up, give it to her. You'll get cavities if you eat too much sweet food. As a doctor, Huamin really didn't want Suyu to be so ignorant. What's wrong with tooth decay? I'll take her to America and get a new set of top-notch teeth. What kind of father are you? You're so childish. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Is Daddy back? Su Yimo was originally asleep, but after hearing Suyu's voice, she miraculously woke up. He even ran out barefoot. When Suyu saw this little thing, he was immediately overjoyed. He hurriedly strode over and picked up his daughter from the ground. Did Daddy ever tell you not to walk barefoot on the ground? Yes, I did. Do you know why? It's cold on the ground. Her slurred pronunciation made Suyu and Huamin want to laugh. You know it's cold on the ground, but you still did it. Did you do it on purpose? Suyu was so bad that he copied his daughter's slurred speech. Luckily, Su Yimo was still young and didn't know the situation. Otherwise, she wouldn't have let her father off so easily. Momo misses Daddy. Seeing that she was being scolded, Su Yimo immediately used her ultimate move and rubbed her head against Suyu's face. For a moment, Suyu didn't know what was going on. He wasn't afraid of anything, but he was afraid that his daughter would use her ultimate move. Suyu was really at her mercy. Daddy, where's my cake? The little girl was still thinking about eating. Chapter 48:59. Suyu carried Su Yimo to the dining table and looked at the dozens of cakes on it. Fortunately, Suyu's table was big enough to fit all of them. Wow, Daddy, you're amazing. I'll reward you with a little flower. Su Yimo took off a little red flower on her head and put on Suyu's head. That scene, Huamin almost spat it out. Suyu didn't care. As long as his daughter was happy, his image didn't matter. Huamin even naughtily took out his phone and recorded a 10-second video for his parents. Then, he posted it on his WeChat moments. Mr. Su skipped work for 2 hours and went home, saying that he was eating cake with his daughter. I can't live like this. I think my family's going bankrupt. Zhu Lingling's cheeky reply. If your family is bankrupt, you can come to my house. I'll give you whatever my golden retriever eats. Huamin directly replied with a hammer, wanting to hammer Zhu Lingling to death. Jiang Xiaowei, on the other hand, was more tactful. She commented, a family flaunting their love. How shameful. Huamin actually didn't want Suyu to spoil Su Yimo too much, but that was obviously impossible. Because after Huamin gave birth to Su Yimo, she stayed in the confinement center for 28 days. Suyu stayed there for 28 days. Most of the time, he didn't even need a nurse. Changing diapers, feeding milk, and even bathing and swimming for the child were all done by him. Although he was clumsy and didn't know how to do it, he learned very seriously with a professional nurse next to him. At that time, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan lamented that it was over. Lord Su's reputation was ruined. From then on, the king had become a super dad. Su Yu and Huamin eventually named their child Su Yimo. The meaning was to help each other in times of need. She hoped that Huamin and Su Yu would be able to walk on together no matter how rich or poor they were. Reality proved that when she was with Su Yu, there were no storms at all. After all, Su Yu was a henpecked husband. As long as his wife said one, he would not dare to say two. If his wife asked him to go east, he would not dare to go west. Furthermore, he was proud of being afraid of his wife, which made Tang Chuan and Wei Liao despise him for a long time. After knowing that Wei Liao had married Jiang Xiaowei, he had also become a henpecked family member. Tang Chuan felt that the world had gone completely crazy. In the end, Su Yu accompanied his daughter to eat the cake and had lunch at home before reluctantly returning to the company. Although Huamin was still the deputy director of Southside, he spent most of his time at home taking care of his daughter. After all, she was not at ease with the nanny at home taking care of the children. Therefore, the couple placed all their focus on the little princess, causing Su Yimo to act even more coquettishly. In a parallel world, in another space-time continuum. Some people didn't know that Su Yu was so happy now and were still thinking about the past. While others were happily playing the killing game, Little Bean quietly pulled her sister to a corner. "Sis, what do you want?" Little Bean's face was cold. "I didn't do anything. Nothing. Why would you ask Uncle to come back? You know he's Su." Little Bean didn't finish her sentence. The name Su Yu was like a curse that she hadn't said for a long time. "I'm just nostalgic," Little Bean said indifferently. "You're not reminiscing about the past. You're trying to remind everyone of him, aren't you?" "Sis, you're crazy. 5 years ago, you forced Wei Yunshu to leave because of this, and now you're trying to do the same thing again. Do you want Mommy to remember everything and feel guilty for the rest of her life? Just because you can't forget, you want everyone to remember. Sis, you're too selfish." Chapter 4860. In the face of Little Bean's questioning and accusation, Pudding didn't retort and remained silent. Fifth Grandpa said that Handsome Su asked him to do it. It was Handsome Su's last wish. He did so much for everyone. He didn't want anyone to suffer. How could you go against his last wish? Look at what you've done. You're so close to Annie Yao. You avoided Wei Yunshu 5 years ago. You made him think that there was someone in your heart that you couldn't get rid of, but you didn't explain it to him. You made him so heartbroken that he left the country. Now you brought Uncle back. You want everything about Handsome Su back, right? Let me ask you, can you bring him back? Little Bean was rarely so fierce, but she felt that if she didn't say something, her sister would go crazy. "I can't." Pudding answered coldly to the question about Su Yu's resurrection. "If you can't, why are you still doing this? The biggest event of this coming-of-age ceremony is our secret wedding for Mom and Dad. But you want everyone to remember Handsome Su. Sis, you're crazy. I think you're possessed. Handsome Su has been gone for so many years, but you've gone crazy for so many years." Little Bean wasn't wrong. Everyone had lost their memories except for the twins' memories of Su Yu. In the beginning, the twins couldn't get used to it and often cried in the dead of night, missing Su Yu. As time passed, and she grew up with them, she began to understand Su Yu's original intention. After so many years, Little Bean had seen through everything, but Pudding was stuck in a quagmire. Many people thought that Wei Yunshu left the country 5 years ago because Tian Tian tried to drive a wedge between them. She wanted to make Wei Yunshu and her misunderstand and blacklist each other. But only Pudding, Wei Yunshu, and Little Bean knew the truth. 5 years ago, before Wei Yunshu left the country, he confessed to Pudding. But Wei Yunshu knew who he wanted to be with for the rest of his life, so he invited Pudding to go abroad with him. He wanted to marry her after graduating from college, but Pudding refused. Wei Yunshu wasn't angry, even though she refused. He just thought that Pudding was too young and wanted to wait. But what he didn't expect was that Pudding kept saying that there was someone she couldn't forget in her heart. This caused Wei Yunshu to break down. All these years, although he didn't know the truth, he could vaguely feel that Pudding was sometimes absent-minded and sometimes depressed. It must be because he had something on his mind, but he didn't expect that there was someone hidden in his heart. Little Bean also knew about this. The sisters naturally wouldn't tell him who this person was. Wei Yinshu thought that it was a boy that Pudding had a crush on in school. After suffering a serious blow, he went abroad. For the first and second years, he was just angry and didn't want to come back. After a long time, the two of them really drifted apart. They had not contacted each other for 5 years. They had even blacklisted each other and were unwilling to listen to each other's gossip. On the surface, everyone thought that Wei Yunshu had abandoned Pudding and left the country. In reality, it was Pudding who rejected Wei Yunshu, forcing him to leave the country in despair. The whole thing had nothing to do with Tian Tian. She just happened to go abroad with Wei Yunshu and was associated with some things. After Wei Yunshu left, Pudding regretted it. She even envied Tian Tian for being able to stay by Wei Yunshu's side. What she didn't know was that Tian Tian didn't receive any warmth from Wei Yunshu. Wei Yunshu was an extremely cold person. Although he wasn't as cold as Qin Shu, he was extremely difficult to get close to. All these years, only Pudding could truly enter his heart, but in the end. Chapter 48-61. Little Bean, I think I've really gone crazy. Because I don't even know if I miss handsome Sue, if I'm obsessed with him, if it's the admiration between a man and a woman, or if it's the reliance I have on him since I was young. After saying this, Pudding's tears fell. Pudding's EQ was much higher than Little Bean's, even higher than that of ordinary people. However, the onlooker sees more clearly than the player. Now that she was deeply involved, she had completely lost her direction. The problem that had been bothering her for years was that regardless of whether Suyu was around or not, she didn't know what kind of feeling she had for Suyu. Back then, Wei Yunshu confessed that he wanted to go abroad with her. It wasn't that she hadn't thought about it, but she just felt that if she just went abroad and ignored everything, then Suyu's last memory in this world would be gone. Other than her and Little Bean, no one else would remember Suyu. Dwelling on this matter made her lose sleep and suffer. There was even a period of time when she frequently dreamed of Suyu. She dreamed of how Suyu doted on her and Little Bean when they were young. In the end, Suyu promised to take them to Tokyo Disneyland. That wish didn't come true. What Pudding couldn't stand the most was that the woman Suyu loved the most in his life, his mother, Huamin, actually forgot about Suyu. Many times, when she was about to say something, she wanted to remind her mother. She wanted to remind her that there was a man in this world who had disappeared in order to fulfill her happiness. However, she knew that once some words were said, they couldn't be taken back. If her mother remembered everything, then her mother would continue to be in pain, and there would be an irreparable wound between her and her father. Therefore, Pudding, who was conflicted and in pain, lost Wei Yunshu from 5 years ago. Now that she was about to turn 18, everything she did was to awaken everyone's memories of Suyu. Others might not understand, but Little Bean understood. She felt that her sister's actions were extremely selfish. That was why he scolded her, hoping that she would wake up. So what if it's true love? Pudding, handsome Sue is gone. He left us. It's been so many years. Please let go of handsome Sue and yourself. You've already made Wei Yunshu too scared to go home for 5 years. Do you still want everyone to spend the rest of their lives crying for handsome Sue? Little Bean's words were like a hammer that slammed into his chest. Pudding listened, but she didn't want to let go. Little Bean, if we both forget handsome Sue, he will disappear from this world forever. I haven't forgotten. He has always lived in my heart. But I'm not like you. I'm not possessed. You want to use your memories to kill yourself and the people around you. Pudding remained silent. I'm warning you for the last time. Qin Zhao Zhao. If you make mom and dad suffer because of your selfishness, you're not my sister. I'll hate you for the rest of my life and never forgive you. I think if you make mom suffer, handsome Sue won't forgive you in the other world either. After saying this, Little Bean turned around angrily. She didn't want to persuade Pudding anymore. She couldn't understand what Pudding was doing. If Pudding really wanted to revive everyone's memories of handsome Sue, then she really wouldn't forgive her. After Little Bean left, Pudding turned around and wiped her tears. Just then, her phone rang. Boss, I'm at the entrance of South Hill Manor. Can I come in for a cup of tea? Liao Mukin said in a teasing tone. Chapter 4862. Liao Mukin came without any warning. There was no signal at all. He swaggered to the front gate of South Hill Manor and sat in a black van. Since he was already at the door, Pudding had no reason not to pick him up. At the front entrance, Mississippi, the security guards greeted Pudding respectfully. She nodded slightly with a cold face and walked directly to the black van. When Pudding arrived, the door opened automatically. Before Pudding could speak, Liao Mukin said, "It's my own idea. My agent and assistant don't know. I sent them away. What do you want?" Pudding looked at him with a trace of annoyance. She had just quarreled with Little Bean because of Suyu. It could be said that ever since they were young, Little Bean had always quarreled with Pudding, but she had never scolded Pudding as seriously as she did just now. This was the first time in 18 years. Pudding's heart was really fragile. It seemed that Little Bean was also annoyed by her. Pudding had just caused a storm between sisters because of Suyu, and this guy came to her door. If there was anything good about Liao Mukin, it would be Pudding. From Pudding's point of view, the only thing left was this face that was similar to Suyu's. "Boss, I really just want to join in the fun. I haven't eaten yet. Can I have dinner? I heard that your dinner is always very fancy." The guy had a playful look on his face. He looked like a little ruffian. Pudding sometimes didn't understand why he had so many female fans. How could he compare to Suyu? He couldn't even compare to one of his fingers. He didn't have handsome Sue's dominance and arrogance, nor did he have handsome Sue's elegance and affection. However, since he was already at the door, there was no reason to reject him. In the end, Pudding acquiesced and let him in. The dinner party at South Hill Manor had more than 100 people, including family members, guests, and servants in the manor. So, it shouldn't be a big deal to have Liao Mukin, right? Pudding thought. However, she soon realized that she was wrong. This guy attracted everyone's attention as soon as he entered the door. "Io, isn't that the little fresh meat that's been very popular recently? Why is he here?" Gao Buiyuan's sharp eyes immediately spotted the man beside Pudding. Liao Mukin might have come prepared today. It was not as simple as a freeloader. Therefore, he was not wearing his usual casual jeans. Instead, he was wearing a black suit with cropped trousers. It was very fashionable. There was also a small wine-red bow tie on his collar. It was cute and playful, which matched his age very well. After seeing Liao Mukin, Little Bean's expression changed. In the end, she didn't say a word. Instead, she pretended to lower her head and not look at him. On the other hand, Xiao Tuanchuan crossed her arms and said word by word, "Liao Mukin, the most popular artist under GK Entertainment. I heard that his salary has exceeded 200 million yuan, and he's the youngest and most valuable male artist in the country. He's also GK Entertainment's cash cow and Pudding's new favorite." Xiao Tuanchuan smiled. "I don't know if he's a new favorite or not, but I'm guessing that Pudding doesn't treat him well." Seeing how Pudding purposely kept her distance from him, it was obvious that Pudding didn't like this guy very much. Holy shit, Liao Mukin, he's so fucking handsome. No, I have to take a picture with him and post it on my WeChat moments. Tang Tianjiao rushed over. Other than posting it on his WeChat moments, there was nothing else in his mind. Chapter 4863. Young Master Tang did as he said and stood in front of Liao Mukin. "Liao Mukin, I'm your fan. Can I take a picture with you?" Before Liao Mukin could say yes, the kid put his arm around Liao Mukin's shoulder. Then, he took out his phone with one hand and forced himself to take a picture. Pudding shook her head helplessly. She didn't even look at them. "Fuck, you're pretty good looking." Tang Tianjiao pointed at Liao Mukin and said, "Thank you." Before Liao Mukin could finish thanking him, the kid interrupted him. That guy continued, "I think we're on par, although you're a little less charming than me." Liao Mukin awkwardly took back the second half of his sentence and scratched his head. "Do you mind if I post on WeChat later?" Tang Tianjiao asked as he edited the picture with his head lowered. "I don't mind, but can you beautify my face?" His words amused young Master Tang. "Of course. Don't worry, bro." Tang Tianjiao waved his hand and ran away, afraid that Pudding would scold him. Then, the kid posted a very arrogant WeChat moment. It said, "Ran into Liao Mukin. He's good-looking, but he's not as charismatic as me. Haha." It was really young Master Tang style to add 3 ha 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 after a cool sentence. This little joker was indeed the son of Tang Chuan and Qin Ning. He was always full of energy and couldn't stop. Tian Tian also had Tang Tianjiao's WeChat. She saw his post on WeChat. She immediately took a screenshot and sent it to Wei Yinshu. She thought Wei Yinshu was far away in the States. "Yinshu, I saw Liao Mukin go to Southhill Manor today." So, this time, Wei Yinshu replied within seconds. Tian Tian was overjoyed and continued to add fuel to the fire. "I've heard that he and Pudding have an ambiguous relationship. Now that she's bringing him home, he must be meeting her parents. Yinshu, you should let go of the past. Some people aren't worth waiting for, really." Wei Yinshu ignored her. Tian Tian's words weren't trustworthy. Wei Yinshu already knew this. Wei Yinshu also had Tang Tianjiao's WeChat, so he saw the photo he posted. The rumors about Pudding and the male artist under her company had been spreading like wildfire for half a year. Most importantly, Pudding had indeed given him a lot of resources. Wei Yinshu looked at Liao Mukin's photo and had to admit that he was quite good-looking. But did Pudding really like such a shallow guy? After not seeing her for 5 years, had she really forgotten everything from the past? Inexplicably, Wei Yinshu's heart felt stifled, and his hand that was drinking coffee stopped in midair. "Son, does this dress look good?" Jiang Xiaowei came out of the fitting room and looked at her son gently. Not bad. How does it compare to the one just now?" "Anything is fine." "Then which one should I wear tonight?" "This one, the color is brighter. Auntie Huamin will like it," Wei Yinshu said gently. Jiang Xiaowei nodded and smiled at the shop assistant beside her. "Since my son said they're all good, then pack them up. Iron this one. I'll wear it later." "Okay, Mrs. Wei." After shopping with her son, Jiang Xiaowei looked at her watch. "It's about time. I have to go. Do you want to come with me?" Jiang Xiaowei asked tentatively. "I'm not going today. I have an appointment with a friend. The driver could drive you there. I'll stay home tonight. Don't worry." "Okay, don't be too late." Jiang Xiaowei had always respected her son, so she didn't say more when she saw that he didn't want to go with her. "At Southhill Manor, huh? Who's that pretty boy next to Pudding?" Zhu Lingling didn't see him clearly at first glance. Hearing her words, Huamin also looked through the crowd, and when she saw the face clearly, she found it strangely familiar. Chapter 48-64. Zhu Lingling didn't realize who it was until she saw him clearly. "Oh, I remember now. He's a little boy who's very popular recently. He's good-looking. Lingling, who's he?" Huamin didn't pay attention to celebrities and gossip, so he didn't know who was popular recently. "No way. Are you so backward now? He's an artist under your company." "An artist under my company?" Huamin was even more confused. "He works for Pudding and is very popular. I heard that he has tens of millions of fans. What's his name again? It was right on the tip of my tongue, but I forgot." Zhu Lingling was also confused and didn't understand. Huamin felt very strange. He put down his work and walked over step by step. He couldn't help but want to get closer to the little boy, Mom. Behind him, he heard Little Bean's voice. Huamin turned around abruptly. "What's wrong, Little Bean?" "Mom, I miss Grandpa." "When is Grandpa coming?" "I haven't gotten through to your auntie, so I'm not sure yet." Huamin couldn't do anything about her father. He was very secretive and was even harder to find than Lu Yan. So, she wasn't sure if her father would come to the twins' coming-of-age ceremony. Okay. Really? When Grandpa comes, I'll teach him a lesson." "Humph. By the way, Mom, didn't you say there's pine nut custard tonight? Why didn't I see it? Come with me. I want to get more for Tuan Tuan and Yuan Yuan. It's on the table next to your Auntie Lingling." Huamin pointed at Zhu Lingling. "Mom, come here. I have something to tell you about the hospital." Little Bean pulled on Huamin's arm as she spoke. Just like that, she easily got her mother to move to the side. Pudding took Liao Mukin out of Huamin's sight. Little Bean didn't know if her sister was crazy or not, but she brought Liao Mukin here without a word. She had seen her mother's blank expression when she looked at Liao Mukin just now. She would never remind her mother of Suyu. Absolutely not. Pudding also saw Little Bean stop Huamin halfway. Thinking of Little Bean's advice, Pudding pulled Liao Mukin to a corner. There's a buffet here. Take whatever you want and leave as soon as you're done. Boss, do you really not welcome me? Liao Mukin smiled on the surface, but in fact he felt a little sour in his heart. Pudding's face was cold. When she said those words, it was as if she was chasing a dog. If it weren't for his thick skin, he really wouldn't have been able to swallow his pride and immediately turn to leave. I didn't invite you. All right, I'll eat something quietly and then leave. You have a lot of guests in your house. Go to your work. Don't worry about me. I won't cause trouble. Seeing that Pudding didn't seem to want to accompany him, Liao Mukin took a plate and planned to eat something. You better mean what you say. Pudding glanced at him and then turned around. At the door was Jiang Xiaowei, who was late. Xiaowei, where's Wei Liao? Gao Ren happened to be at the door. Seeing her alone, he couldn't help but feel a little strange. He's still talking to a client. I don't think he can come. I'm the only one here today. Just in time. Come and sit down, Sister Xiaowei. Qining also held Jiang Xiaowei's arm very intimately. Just as they were about to sit down, Pudding came over and took the initiative to help Jiang Xiaowei get a set of cutlery. When she looked up and saw Pudding, her eyes were a little complicated. She actually really wanted Pudding and Yunshu to meet and talk alone, but... Chapter 48-65. Thank you, Pudding. Annie Xiaowei, eat more. The food tonight is especially delicious. Pudding smiled elegantly. Yes, I'll eat more. Pudding, yes? Have you contacted Yunshu? Jiang Xiaowei probed. Pudding's expression froze slightly, and then she smiled awkwardly. Not yet, but I heard from my brother that they met in Germany not long ago. Yunshu seems to be very busy. You guys grew up together, and there's nothing that can't be resolved. In other words, even if there's no possibility of development between you two, you'll still be friends in the future, right? Yes, Auntie. Yunshu and I are friends no matter what. Pudding didn't want to disappoint her elders. She could tell that Annie Xiaowei had been very good to her all these years. Auntie Xiaowei even favored her more than Little Bean. Perhaps it was because she had long believed that Little Bean and Yunshu were a couple. Therefore, in this situation, she felt quite guilty. Okay, let's eat. We'll talk about this later. Seeing that Pudding's attitude was good, Jiang Xiaowei felt that there might be a chance between the two children. After all, she could tell from her son's eyes that he couldn't let go. Otherwise, he wouldn't have suddenly returned to the country on the eve of her coming-of-age ceremony. It was obvious how important Pudding's coming-of-age ceremony was to him. Liao Mukin was indeed obedient. He hid in the corner and didn't attract Hua Min's attention, nor did he cause any commotion. He sat quietly and ate his dinner, enjoying it quite a lot. Perhaps he was too engrossed in his meal, so he didn't notice the person behind him. Hey! A girl's voice sounded behind him. He turned around and was about to call out, "Boss," when he suddenly realized that this girl's clothes were different from his boss's. Her hairstyle was also different. Upon closer inspection, he noticed that her temperament was also different. "Oh, I know. You're my boss's sister. Congratulations, you even know how to answer first." Little Bean smiled and sat down beside Liao Mukin as if she was familiar with him. Liao Mukin had been at GK for a long time, but Little Bean, who liked to gossip and chase after celebrities, rarely interacted with Liao Mukin. It could even be said that this was the first time the two of them had met alone. Subconsciously, Little Bean didn't want to see this person. She didn't want to think about handsome Sue and be sad. Just like Pudding, Little Bean's feelings for Sue were very deep. Sometimes, Pudding would face it, but Little Bean only wanted to escape. Looking at Liao Mukin's face from such a close distance, Little Bean realized that he really did have handsome Sue's charm. After only 3 seconds, Little Bean felt a lump in her throat and lowered her head. "What happened to you? Not in a good mood?" "Oh, it's not that. It's just that there are a lot of people at home these days, so I'm a little tired." Little Bean tried to lower her voice. "You really look like my boss." Liao Mukin sighed. "Isn't that obvious? We're twins. If we don't look like each other, why would we be twins?" Little Bean laughed. "You have a different personality, too. You're more cheerful. My boss has a different face every day. She's bitter and hateful. It's like everyone owes her 8 million yuan. Liao Mukin bit his chopsticks and started to eat the black pudding. That's not right. With my sister's current wealth, owing her 8 million won't make her angry. It'll probably be 800 million. After Little Bean said this, Liao Mukin also laughed. By the way, did my sister bring you here? Little Bean asked casually, but in reality, she wanted to know if Pudding did it on purpose. However, Liao Mukin shook his head. No, I shamelessly came here. My boss had no choice but to let me in. Why did you do that? Little Bean froze. Because I like my boss. He still said this in a joking manner. Little Bean was even more shocked when she heard this. Chapter 4866. Little Bean was obviously even more shocked by Liao Mukin's words. Really? Don't lie to me. This world is so strange. What I usually tell the media is all lies. I don't mean it, but the media and fans believe me. Now that I'm telling you the truth, you don't believe me? No, I just think that it's a little too sudden abrupt. Do you think someone as excellent as your sister doesn't deserve to be liked? Liao Mukin thought Little Bean was very cute. Of course not. My sister is excellent, but you and her. Little Bean hesitated and didn't finish her sentence. Liao Mukin wasn't stupid and knew what she meant. He smiled slightly, put down the teacup in his hand, and wiped the corner of his mouth. I know. You want to say that I'm not good enough for her. After all, my family background is not good. I'm not from a famous family, and I'm not very good looking. My wealth is nothing compared to hers, and I'm a few years older than her. Liao Mukin laughed at himself. That's not what I meant. It's hard for people to get close to my sister. Little Bean looked at Liao Mukin seriously. Hard doesn't mean it's impossible. Sincerity can move metal and stone. Okay, if you're so patient, then keep trying. But don't say I didn't warn you. Be careful not to break your glass heart. Sorry, my heart isn't glass. It's diamond, Liao Mukin teased. If a diamond is damaged over time, it will also shatter into pieces. You don't have confidence in me? Liao Mukin looked at Little Bean and smiled bitterly. No, I don't have confidence in my sister. Anyway, good luck. Oh, right, there's one more thing. I want to ask you. Little Bean finally told Liao Mukin why she came to see him. What? If possible, please stay away from my mother. Don't let her see you or notice you. As for the reason, don't ask. I have my reasons, okay. Liao Mukin didn't think it was difficult, so he nodded slightly. Thank you. Then, Little Bean turned around and left. Her conversation with Liao Mukin was a little secretive, so no one noticed. Liao Mukin did abide by the gentleman's agreement and did not let Huamin notice him again. Before he left, he really wanted to say goodbye to Pudding. But from afar, he saw Pudding standing beside a couple of old men. She was happily talking about something, and from time to time, she would mischievously stick out her tongue. That kind of scene could never be seen in the company. In the company, Pudding was just like her father. She always had a cold face. Although she was young, everyone was afraid of her. Liao Mukin didn't know that the old couple that Pudding was coaxing was the Su couple. He just envied those people from the bottom of his heart. If one day, Pudding could also put down her mask and smile at him without fear, he would be very happy, right? Liao Mukin thought as he walked out in a low-key manner. He didn't expect to meet the young master of the Qin family here. Although Qin Guoguo was young, he wasn't sure at all. He leaned against the door lazily. Leaving so soon? Yeah, I'm full. Liao Mukin was also puzzled. It was their first time meeting, but they seemed to be very familiar with each other. He knew this kid. He had seen him in photos. There was a family photo of 5 in President Qin and President Qin's office. This kid was standing behind the chairman's wife. He must be the legendary young master of the Qin family, Qin Yuyao. Don't you want to say goodbye to my sister before you leave? Qin Guoguo asked him. Chapter 4867. It's okay. My boss is very busy and won't pay attention to me. Okay. Bye. Bye. Liao Mukin waved his hand. Will you come tomorrow? Qin Guoguo continued to ask him. That depends on my boss. I heard that invitations to the coming-of-age ceremony are very hard to come by. So many rich people in the city can't make it. I think I'll have to depend on my luck. Liao Mukin felt that Pudding's attitude towards him today was neither warm nor cold, as if she didn't welcome him. Why would she let an extra person like him come to the coming-of-age ceremony? If you want to come, you can call me. I'll bring you in. Qin Guo was said word for word. Liao Mukin was stunned. Are you surprised? Qin Guo was smiled when he saw Hua Mian's surprised expression. Indeed, I'm flattered. This is the first time we've met. There's no reason for you to be so nice to me. If I told you that I feel very familiar with you, as if I've known you for a long time, would you believe me? Qin Guo asked. Before Liao Mukin could respond, Qin Guo smiled again. I don't believe it myself. Then, Qin Guo turned around and walked inside as if he hadn't said anything to Liao Mukin. Hua Mian stood there dumbfounded. He thought to himself, the Qin family is so weird. Pudding and Little Bean are like that, and so is Qin Guo. As for why Qin Guo was so interested in Liao Mukin, who he had just met for the first time, first, it was because of the rumors about him and his sister. Second, he saw his mother walk towards the kid curiously, but his sister hurriedly stopped her. Third, when he saw the kid's face, he felt like he had seen him before. It was an indescribable feeling. If Pudding and Little Bean enjoyed Su Yu's love for a few years, then Qin Guo was actually sad. When he was in Hua Min's stomach, Hua Min was already in danger. When he was about to be born, something happened to Su Yu. He had never met Su Yu face to face, so he had no idea what Su Yu had sacrificed to protect him and his mother when he was in Hua Min's stomach. Therefore, he did not know what Su Yu looked like, nor did he remember Su Yu. Regarding his name, the Yu in the middle of Qin Yu Yao's name, the family seemed to have forgotten the original intention of naming him. Liao Mukin left South Hill Manor quietly. After he got in the van, he sent Pudding a WeChat message. Boss, I'm leaving. Thank you for dinner. I'm very full. Pudding was chatting with the two elders of the Su family, making them happy. When he saw the WeChat message, his eyes darkened, but he did not reply. He put down his phone and continued to accompany the two elders of the Su family. That was why gossip was unreliable. It was rumored that Pudding and Liao Mukin were in love with each other. Now, all they had to do was wait for Qin Shu and Hua Min's approval. But what was the real situation? Not only did Pudding not have a good impression of Liao Mukin, she even had a little bit of hostility. It was the feeling of rejection. After dinner and seeing everyone off, it was already 10 p.m. Lu Yin was a person who could not stay idle. She brought her husband, daughter, and even the twins and Qin Guo. The whole family went to the nightclub. Fortunately, the nightclub was one of Tang Chuan's businesses and was not dangerous, so Hua Min agreed. It was late at night. Hua Min finished cleaning up with the maid and leaned on Qin Shu's shoulder tiredly. Honey, I'm so hungry. Why do I feel like I'm not full? Then let's go out for supper. Now, Hua Min was surprised. Chapter 48-68. Qin Shu nodded. It's already 10:30. Hua Min looked at her watch. So will I get fat if I eat at this time? Hua Min smiled. You're already a mother of 3. What's there to be afraid of? Eat your fill first, Qin Shu coaxed her. What do you want to eat? Hua Min showed great interest. She also revealed her true colors as a foodie. Actually, Hua Min couldn't be blamed. With so many people at home, she definitely had to entertain the guests first. She was afraid that everyone wouldn't eat well. Therefore, in order to take care of everyone, she didn't eat much herself. Tonight's meal was mainly Western food. Most of it was steak and foie gras. Hua Min actually didn't like steak very much, especially the medium-rare kind. There were still traces of blood in it, so she really couldn't taste it. It wasn't as good as Chinese food. Therefore, at this moment, after busying herself, her stomach was naturally growling. I like Cyan's ramen. Do you want to go? Qin Shu lowered his head and asked her with a doting expression. Yes. Other things were fine, but Cyan's ramen was a temptation that Hua Min couldn't resist since she was a girl. Not only was the ramen delicious, but it was also cheap. The price hadn't changed all these years, and the taste of the beef was also a taste that others couldn't make. Qin Shu knew his wife too well. A single Ixian's ramen was enough to coax her into following him out obediently. In order not to attract the attention of the media and make headlines, Chin Chu went out in a low-key manner. He only drove the most inconspicuous car in the garage, a Phaeton. The car was very long, but the interior was very impressive. It was also worth more than 1,000,000 yuan. There was a saying that went, "Don't be afraid of Mercedes-Benz and Land Rovers, but be afraid of Volkswagen with letters." A Phaeton was a Volkswagen with letters. It looked like an ordinary person, but it was actually a noble among the masses. It was a godlike existence. The couple drove out of South Hill Manor in a low-key manner. It wasn't easy to have a chance to eat with his wife alone. Chin Chu was in a good mood. She turned on the music in the car. Accompanied by the evening breeze, it was a different kind of mood. Chin Chu was nostalgic. Just like Huamin, he liked some old songs. It was a name that no one had ever heard of. Perhaps Chin Chu was trying to cater to his wife's mood, but he actually played the song "Silence is Golden." It was one of Zhang Guorong's classic works. Back then, Chin Chu had also personally sung it for Huamin. It could be considered as a sweet memory of their relationship. As soon as she heard this song, Huamin immediately started singing along. Although her Cantonese pronunciation was not very accurate, and she would occasionally slip out of tune, it didn't affect her good mood. As Chin Chu drove, he glanced at the side of his wife's face from time to time. At this moment, he was extremely satisfied. What he wanted was to grow old with Huamin. Now, they had been together for more than 20 years. They met and fell in love when they were teenagers. Now that they were 40 years old, time slipped away in the blink of an eye. Chin Chu wasn't afraid of growing old, nor was he afraid of his wife's aging appearance. He was only afraid that he wouldn't grow old with his wife. At the entrance of Ixian's Ramen, the noodle shop was still open. Under the dim light, there were still groups of young people eating supper. Although it was already late autumn and the weather was very cold, it didn't stop everyone's passion for ramen. The former owner of Ixian's Ramen had a stroke 5 years ago and was hospitalized at Southside. It was Huamin who personally treated him. After he was discharged, he stayed at home to recuperate. Now, the noodle shop was inherited by his daughter. She was a very lively girl, and the noodles she made were as delicious as her father's. "Uncle Chin, Annie Mian, you're here." "Yeah, same old, 2 bowls of ramen and beef," Chin Chu said. "Okay, wait a moment. It'll be right up." The girl was very diligent. Huamin looked at the familiar noodle shop and the somewhat old second high across the street, and sighed in her heart. "Honey, do you think that if I didn't go to second high back then and went to another school, we wouldn't have met?" Chapter 4869. Chin Chu replied domineeringly, "But there are no ifs in life. You can't predict what hasn't happened yet. All I see is the current outcome." "Fine, fine. You really don't want to be taken advantage of." Huamin smiled as he reached out and pinched Chin Chu's face. All these years, only Huamin dared to pinch Chin Chu's face so recklessly. Even the twins didn't dare to bully their father like this. "The noodles are ready. Uncle Chin, Auntie Mian, enjoy." "Yuhong, how's your father's recovery?" Huamin looked up and asked the girl. "Dad's recovering well. He's living in the countryside with Mom. The air there is good. He exercises for 3 hours every day and can already walk 8 or 9 meters by himself." "That's good." "Yes, Dad is very grateful. If it weren't for your treatment, he probably wouldn't have recovered so quickly." "Don't mention it. Even if your father and I don't know each other, I will still treat him with care. As a doctor, I will treat every patient seriously. Tell your father to never drink again. Keep warm and don't catch a cold." "Okay, Annie Mian. Thank you." The girl bowed deeply to Huamin politely and then went into the kitchen to cook. Huamin and Chin Chu ate simple ramen and pickled vegetables while drinking ancient soda. These things were the best tools to bring them back to their youth. Almost every time they ate here, they would remember something from their school days. Chin Chu thought that his Mian would talk about something interesting today, but she didn't. After a few bites of noodles, she suddenly thought of something and asked him, "Honey, there's a very popular artist under our company. He's a little boy. What's his name?" "Are you talking about Liao Mukin?" Chin Chu was curious. "Yes, him. His name is Liao Mukin? Huamin confirmed. Qin Shu nodded. Huamin put down his chopsticks and picked up his phone. Soon, he found the kid's information on Baidu Encyclopedia. Then, after skimming through it, she clicked on one of his daily photos. Huamin looked at that face with a complicated expression. What's wrong, Mian? Honey, look at this face, don't you think it's familiar? Huamin picked up her phone and showed Qin Shu Liao Mukin's photo. Unfortunately, Qin Shu did not feel that way. Perhaps it was because he had seen Liao Mukin many times. When this kid first came to the company, he was highly praised. Qin Shu often attended events with Pudding and Qin Shu, so he wasn't surprised. To be honest, I don't feel that way. What's wrong, Mian? Do you know this kid? Qin Shu was curious about his wife's reaction. I don't think so. This is the first time I've heard of his name, but today when I saw him for the first time at our house, I felt strange. I had a strange feeling in my heart. It felt like I should know this person and have known him for a long time. But that can't be right. He's only in his early 20s. Do you know his family background? What do his parents do for a living? Could he be an old acquaintance of ours? Huamin was curious. His family background is average, and he's not from here. His parents are ordinary workers. I think his father works on a railroad, and his mother runs a supermarket. His parents came to the company before and participated in our events and interviews. I've seen them before, but I don't know them. Then what's going on? Why do I have this strange feeling? Huamin looked at the kid's photo again and couldn't figure out. Chapter 4870. Maybe it's just my imagination. You've been busy at Southside recently. Plus, you've been preparing for the two children's coming-of-age ceremony. Maybe you're too tired. Hearing Qin Shu's comforting words, Huamin nodded doubtfully. Then, he put away his phone and continued eating his noodles. At the Tang family's private villa. After Tang Chuan and Qin Ning got married, they bought a private villa in a wealthy area not far from Qin Shu's house. After Qin Ning gave birth to her son, she became a mother in the Tang family. In order to see her grandson, the old lady of the Tang family wanted to worship her daughter-in-law. Qin Ning wasn't a ruthless person. Slowly, her relationship with Tang Chuan's family improved. Tang Tianjiao became the favorite of his grandparents and the entire Tang family. That was why he became a devil at such a young age. Qin Ning suddenly felt inferior. Why were other children so obedient and sensible? Why was her nephew, Qin Yuyao, like an elegant young master when they were both in their teens? Not only was he good-looking and had a high EQ, but he also had the introverted personality of a brother and the steadiness of a sister-in-law. Why was her son as happy as a mutant husky? Because of this, she even complained that Tang Chuan's genes weren't good and that he was a hindrance. Tang Tianjiao finished dinner at South Hill Manor. After returning with his parents, he took a shower and was about to go to bed. However, when he saw Little Bean's post, his sleepiness instantly disappeared. Little Bean posted a big photo. It was in a dark private room in the clubhouse. Pudding and Little Bean were in the front row, and Qin Yuyao was in the middle. Xiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuanyuan were on both sides. The 5 good-looking children were gathered together, and the scene was very lively. They were even allowed to drink. Tang Tianjiao realized that each of them was holding a bottle of beer in their hands. They were having a great time. Children under the age of 16 were not allowed to drink in the family. Tang Tianjiao drank secretly once and was beaten up by his father, Tang Chuan. His butt was swollen. After that, he didn't dare to try it again. Now, these few people were swaggering around and drinking. If you remember correctly, Xiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuanyuan were only 12 years old. They were the same age as him. Why could they drink? Thinking of this, Tang Tianjiao threatened, "Sister Little Bean, I'm going to tell Annie that you guys were drinking. We'll be 18 after the coming-of-age ceremony. Will my mom care about us?" Little Bean retorted, "But my cousin is still young. He's only 14 years old." Young Master Tang wasn't convinced. Instead, he was filled with envy and jealousy. "My brother was specially approved by my mother. What does it have to do with you?" Tang Tianjiao was once again insulted, and the feeling was extremely uncomfortable. So he continued to nitpick, Then Xiao Tianxuan and Xiao Yuanyuan are only 12, the same age as me. My Annie's family is very relaxed. Xiao Tianxuan and Xiao Yuanyuan have tasted all the famous wines in the world since they were 8 years old. Now, they know the name of the wine just by smelling it, and they won't get drunk even after 1,000 cups. Sick fucking pervert. Tang Tianjiao felt that the Qiao family was way too sick. Xiao Tianxuan and Xiao Yuanyuan's parents actually allowed them to start drinking at the age of 8. No wonder the two sisters were so powerful. Whenever they attacked, they would definitely injure someone. After thinking about it, Tang Tianjiao thickened his skin and sent a private message to Little Bean. Beautiful, gentle, kind, and adorable, the invincible sister Little Bean. If you have something to say, then say it. Little Bean didn't hold back. Over the years, she had often argued with this naughty cousin. Can you bring me? Before Tang Tianjiao could finish, Little Bean blocked his message. I'm not done yet. Young Master Tang felt wronged. Don't say anymore. I can't bring you here. Why? Am I not your most beloved cousin? Young Master Tang began to act coquettishly and cutely. Chapter 48-71. Little Bean replied straightforwardly, You've never been. You hurt my feelings, sis. Little Bean laughed devilishly on the other end of the line. At this moment, young Master Tang anxiously went downstairs in his pajamas. He found that his parents were still drinking red wine and watching a movie. Why aren't you asleep yet? Tang Chuan turned around and saw his son coming downstairs. Dad, you have to help me this time. They don't like me, who? Tang Chuan was also confused when he heard this. After that, young Master Tang told his father everything that had happened. Tang Chuan immediately slammed the table and exploded. These inhumane people. Why didn't they take my son with them? Don't get involved. You're not on the same level as Xiao Tianxuan and Xiao Yuanyuan. Your childhood was different. Qi Ning mocked her son. She knew what kind of person Lu Yin was. Her way of educating her children was strange. Mom, even you're laughing at me. Don't be afraid, son. I'll call them now. Tang Chuan took care of his son for the first time. He called Pudding's cell phone. 3 minutes later, Tang Chuan hung up the phone and smiled slightly. Pudding will pick you up at the door. Go, son. I'll ask the driver to take you there. Wow, Dad, I love you. Tang Tianjiao hugged Tang Chuan's neck excitedly and kissed him. It's okay, it's okay. It's not a big deal. Dad, you're so good. You didn't act like my dad today. Bullshit if I'm not like your dad. Who is? Old Wang next door? As soon as he finished speaking, Tang Chuan was kicked in the butt. Qi Ning didn't show any mercy. I'll stop fooling around. I'm leaving, Dad. I definitely won't drink. I'm just going to have fun. It's okay. You can drink less, Tang Chuan reminded him. Damn, I'm flattered. Dad, if you keep up this state, I'll love you for 10,000 years. Tang Tianjiao felt that today was a great day. His father, who was usually strict with him and would beat him up for no reason, had turned into a loving father today. What was going on? However, he didn't have time to think too much about it. He just wanted to go out and play. Tang Chuan called Pudding. After all, he was Pudding's uncle, so he had to give him face. Therefore, Pudding immediately agreed and brought Tang Tianjiao along to have fun. Son, come back soon. Don't be too crazy, okay? Before leaving, Qi Ning was still a little worried and kept reminding him. I know, Mom. I won't embarrass you. Qi Ning. Tang Tianjiao hurriedly changed his clothes and left. His chauffeur drove him to the club where Lu Yin and the others were. Qi Ning looked at her husband, who was acting out of character. She narrowed her eyes and questioned, Did you take the wrong medicine today? Why are you pleading for your son? This isn't like you. I naturally have my reasons. See, I knew there was something fishy going on. Our son is too naive. He might believe you, but I don't. Tell me, what do you want? Qi Ning leaned against the sofa and looked at Tang Chuan, who was smiling mischievously. Honey, ever since Tianjiao was born, don't you feel that something is missing between us? What? Qi Ning froze. Before this kid was born, we did it once every 2 days. After he was born, we only did it once a week. Tang Chuan's tone was full of grievance. In the end, Qi Ning finally understood what he meant. Her cheeks instantly turned red. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense. This kid affected the harmony of our sex life. So, today I sent him away. Honey, are you going to reward me? With that, Tang Chuan pounced on Qin Ning, who was on the sofa. Chapter 4872. Even if Tang Tianjiao was beaten to death, he would never have thought that his father would be so abnormal today. What was the reason? He didn't care too much about it. It wasn't easy for him to get permission to go out, so he wanted to run to the end of the world. Teenagers were all rebellious and didn't want to go home or listen to their parents. Tang Tianjiao was especially naughty. Although he was naughty, he didn't do anything out of line. Qin Ning had a headache, but she acquiesced. In the dim private room of the nightclub, Lu Yin and Xiao Fei sat in a corner, showing him the new electronic products they had invented recently. Their voices weren't loud and were drowned out by the singing. Xiao Fei put an arm around Lu Yan's shoulder, and they were as intimate as when they first started dating. Xiao Tianchuan and Xiao Yuan were used to the public display of affection and could calmly watch their parents show off their love. Little Bean was in a good mood because Gao Buiyuan was back and she had one more follower. She lay on Gao Buiyuan's lap and played games on her phone. Gao Buiyuan even peeled nuts and fed them to Little Bean. Sis, nuts make you fat, Qin Guo said. Nonsense. Nuts are good for the brain. Little Bean rolled her eyes. You're smart enough. You don't need to eat more. Qin Guo continued to smirk. Don't try to fool me. I'm the dumbest here. If I don't eat more, I won't catch up with you guys even if I ride a rocket. Of course, Little Bean knew she was the dumbest among them. She thought she was smart, but compared to putting Qin Guo, Xiao Tianchuan, and Xiao Yuan, she was really clumsy. It's okay. I'll be at the bottom for you. Gao Buiyuan chuckled. As long as Little Bean was happy, he could turn on his self-deprecating mode anytime. Little Bean was very protective of Gao Buiyuan and couldn't bear to see him being ridiculed. So, she immediately said, I don't want you to be at the bottom. You have to be something. After all, you're a student of the public security university. Look at your grandpa and dad. You have to be at the top in the future. Okay, I'll try my best. Gao Buiyuan continued to smile as if he was never angry with Little Bean. What's Yinshu doing now? Qin Guo's words seemed to freeze the air. Are you touching a sore spot? Xiao Yuan chuckled as she looked at Qin Guo. Not really. My sister is very calm. She won't be affected by what others say, Qin Guo said and deliberately looked at Pudding. Indeed, she was holding the microphone and singing Jay Chou's Red Dust in very seriously. Her mood was not affected at all. Qin Guo thought of Liao Mukin, who came to the house today, and Wei Yunshu, who was abroad. She suddenly felt conflicted for her sister. Of course, everyone hoped that she could get together with Wei Yunshu. After all, they were childhood sweethearts who grew up together. But with Pudding's personality, she had been in a cold war with Wei Yunshu for 5 years. Could they really reconcile so easily? Qin Guo liked Wei Yunshu very much. After all, he called him Big Brother. Therefore, he always wanted to do something. He took out his phone and secretly sent a WeChat message. There were no words, only a picture of Pudding's side profile as she sang. Pudding's hair was very long, black and straight. She was wearing a straight red miniskirt. Her collarbones were clearly visible, making her look a little sexy. She only had a black Patek Philippe watch on her wrist. It was worth 1,000,000 yuan. She rarely smiled. Or rather, it was rare for people to catch a smile on her face. Little Bean, on the other hand, was very willing to smile. Whether it was at the hospital or at home, she was always carefree. Pudding, on the other hand, was always worried. On the other side, Wei Yunshu was about to lie down and sleep when his phone rang. He slowly picked it up and his eyes became deep. Chapter 4873. He instantly recognized Pudding. Even though he only saw her side profile, he could still recognize her. It had been 5 years since he last saw her. She hadn't changed much, but she hadn't changed much either. Her facial features hadn't changed, but her temperament had. When they separated 5 years ago, they were only 13 years old. At that time, They were already mature and knew what it meant to like each other. Wei Yunshu was almost 100% sure that Pudding would go abroad with him, and then they would spend a lot of good times together. But at that time, he realized that Pudding was always preoccupied. It wasn't because she was depressed. It was because there was someone in her heart, and Pudding seemed to know this person. But in the end, she didn't ask who this person was, because that wasn't important anymore. No matter who Pudding loved, as long as it wasn't him, he couldn't bear the consequences. Pudding didn't give a clear answer to his confession. She hesitated. So he was hurt. Such an arrogant young man who had never failed before was defeated by Pudding. One could imagine the impact. After all, he was only 13 years old. The way he handled things could never be as mature as an adult. So Wei Yunshu chose to go abroad alone. Later, Tian followed and stuck to him like glue. Many elders thought that there was something going on between him and Tian, but the truth? Wei Yunshu had never looked at Tian, whether it was before or now. Once, Tian got drunk and took the initiative to ask Wei Yunshu, "Is it because I'm an orphan that you look down on me? I don't have a prominent family like Pudding, and I don't have Pudding's exquisite beauty. I can't give you a strong future. Is that why you look down on me?" Wei Yunshu didn't want to answer such a boring question, but seeing Tian's obsession and pain, he decided to tell her the answer. He said, "If you and Pudding's families were switched, you were a rich young lady, and she was an orphan, then I wouldn't dislike you." Tian asked him in pain why. Wei Yunshu said directly, "Because she's Pudding. Because she's Pudding, no matter her status, appearance, or upbringing, she's my love. Because you're not her, no matter if you're the president's daughter or a rich young lady, it has nothing to do with me." After that, Tian disappeared for a while. Although they were in the same school, they didn't see each other often. One of Wei Yunshu's characteristics was that if he didn't like someone, he wouldn't give them any hope. He had always thought that, like Puyin, he had already decided on a wife since he was young. Who would have thought that there would be any deviations? Therefore, the sudden incident 5 years ago was too much for the two 13-year-old children to handle, and they lost contact with each other. He spent the past 5 years in silence. As for his return this time, he had been conflicted for a long time. He was afraid that when he came back, even if Pudding looked at him, she would be indifferent. She was afraid that the person who had been in her heart for so many years was still irreplaceable. Even so, he still wanted to fight for a chance for himself. After all, he didn't want to miss such an important moment in her life. After thinking for a while, he replied to Qing, "She's still so beautiful. So you won't give up on her, right?" Qing Guowei asked. Wei Yunshu did not reply. There were many things that he already knew the answer to. Naturally, he would not casually tell others. Chapter 4874. In a mansion in the city, wearing a cotton nightgown, Han Yueyao leaned against the sofa with a glass of red wine in her hand. "You shouldn't drink so much. You have a schedule tomorrow." A tall and gentle man with slightly curly hair stood beside her. This was Han Yueyao's manager, who had been with her since before she became famous. For many years, although Han Yueyao had been involved in scandals, she had never really been in love. This man had been with her for more than 10 years and had never married or had children. Their relationship had been reported by some unscrupulous media, but because there was no evidence, it was left unsettled. "Amu, bring me another bottle," Han Yueyao ordered him after finishing the wine in her glass. "Don't drink anymore. I can't sleep. I've been feeling very tired recently," she said. "If you really feel stressed, I'll cancel all my schedules next week. You have enough money now, you have fame, and you've won so many awards. Your life is complete." "My life is complete? No, not yet. I keep feeling like I seem to have forgotten someone." Han Yueyao burst into tears at this point. She was even sadder than Huamin, because Huamin could still remember some things when he saw Liao Mukin. Han Yueyao only vaguely remembered that someone lived in her heart, but she didn't know what that person looked like, how old he was, or what he said. All these years, she would feel pain in her heart every night. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't remember anything. She didn't feel anything when she saw Liao Mukin. Perhaps Han Yueyao hadn't known Su Yu for long enough. Therefore, she didn't have deep memories like Huamin. Are you having a relapse again? I'll make an appointment with a doctor for you tomorrow. Amu always thought that Han Yueyao was hysterical and always fantasized about things and people that didn't exist. When it was serious, he took her to see a psychiatrist and a Chinese medicine doctor. He prescribed her some medicine that could help her sleep peacefully. It would more or less relieve her symptoms. Seeing that she was causing trouble again, he was very worried. No, I plan to see Sister Mian tomorrow. Han Yueyao didn't remember why she trusted Huamin so much. She was closer to Pudding and Little Bean. She couldn't remember the process, but she had been in contact with them all these years. 2:30 in the morning, feeling sleepy, Lu Yin suggested going back to South Hill Manor to sleep. However, the children all said that they were hungry and wanted to go out to eat. Lu Yin waved her hand. You guys go and eat, then go back. Are they going alone? Xiao Fei was a little worried. What are you afraid of? Pudding is here, isn't she? She's an adult. Then, Lu Yin and Xiao Fei left the nightclub. Xiao Tianchuan, Xiao Yuan, Tang Tianjiao, Gaoheng, Little Bean, Qin Guohua, and Pudding. The group of 7 decided to go eat something. Let me take you to a Cantonese breakfast. I know a restaurant that's open 24 hours a day, Pudding suggested. Sis, I want to eat barbecue and seafood. These words were said by Xiao Tuanchuan. She rarely spoke, but her words carried a lot of weight. Why do you want barbecue all of a sudden? Pudding was surprised. Are you sure you don't mind that place being dirty and messy? It's not a high-end restaurant. Don't regret it if you go there. Little Bean smirked. Chapter 4875. I heard from Uncle Alai that the food stalls here are very delicious. It's very lively. Alai had told Xiao Tuanchuan that she had never been to a food stall before. Now that her parents weren't around, she wanted to have some fun. That place is a bit messy. I don't recommend it. Qin Guohua had experienced it before and didn't recommend it. It was better to find a 5-star private restaurant to eat quietly and enjoy the night view. The messier it is, the more interesting it is. Sis, take us there. Who knows when we'll come again? Hearing that her sister wanted to go, Xiao Yuan followed suit. Okay, but don't cause any trouble. Pudding knew that her 2 sisters were very difficult to deal with. If she brought the 2 little bombs of the Qiao family with her, she was worried that they would cause trouble everywhere. We won't cause any trouble. When Xiao Tuanchuan smiled, her small canine teeth were very cute. Tang Tianjiao couldn't help but touch her mouth. Fuck, these are real teeth. They're so unique. Can you give them to me? Do you want to die? Xiao Tuanchuan casually punched Tang Tianjiao, making him cry out in pain. Sis, let's go to the food street near Qingshui Road. I heard there are more people there, Little Bean suggested. I don't recommend going there. There are local gangs there that collect protection fees and watch over the place. It's very messy, Gao Buin said this time. The Gao family was a family of police officers. He had followed his father around since he was a child and knew the situation in every district. It would have been better if he hadn't mentioned it. Now that he mentioned it, the 2 from the Qiao family were even more eager to try. Wow, gangs are so exciting. We want to see it. Let's go there, sis. Sis, please. The Qiao sisters acted coquettishly and cutely, as if they were harmless to humans and animals. Pudding couldn't bear to refuse them and took them there. However, if Pudding had known what would happen, she would never have brought them along. Who would have thought that this group of second-generation rich kids would cause such a big mess on their first solo mission? The 7 of them drove to the food street. In order not to attract attention, they parked their car in a parking lot far away. Then, they walked for a full 2 miles before arriving at the seafood stall. This was the most crowded place in the city after 10 o'clock at night, because it was said that it opened at 9 p.m. every night until 6 a.m. in the morning. Many people who were working the night shift liked to come here to eat. It was cheap, had a wide variety of food, and most importantly, it was lively. It was already past 3 in the morning. Unexpectedly, there were still so many people here. The smell of barbecue, crayfish, and beer was everywhere. Almost every restaurant would have a few tables of guests. Some would play finger-guessing games, some would compete in drinking, some would sing, and some would even record short videos for internet celebrities. The group of people kept walking until they reached a shop with the most customers. Then they stopped. "Let's take this one. I heard it's not bad," Pudding said. "Isn't this an internet celebrity shop? I heard that a month ago, the superstar Liao Mukin came to eat here. Then, he suddenly became famous. The boss even took a picture with him." Tang Tianjiao gossiped. "What is Liao Mukin? He just works for my sister. Do you really have to be like this?" Little Bean chuckled and changed the topic. She didn't want people to keep mentioning this person in front of Pudding. The group of people chatted and laughed as they walked in. However, he did not expect that the moment he entered the door, he had already been targeted. "Big Brother Tao, look at that group of people. There are 2 pairs of twins, and they are so damn good-looking. Huh, wouldn't it be great if we tied them up and gave them to you?" Above the food stall, a shifty-eyed man said to the bald man beside him with a fawning expression. Chapter 4876. The 7 of them attracted a lot of attention when they walked in. They were all good-looking men and women. Because of their height, it was hard to tell that the oldest of them was less than 19 years old, Gao Boyuan. The youngest was 12 years old, the 2 sisters of the Qiao family, and Tang Tianjiao. This restaurant was called Mao Dada Food Stall. It was the most popular and occupied the largest space on the street. Many people came for supper. There were many live seafood, crayfish, and all kinds of fish at the door. After sitting down, Pudding stood up. "What do you want to eat?" "I'll order it." "It's your treat. Can we eat as much as we want?" Tang Tianjiao looked at Pudding with a cheeky smile. "Sure, eat as much as you want." Pudding smiled, looking happy. "Sis, I want crayfish. Spicy, and 13 spice. I want all of them," Little Bean said. She was like a fighter among foodies. Even the crayfish had 3 flavors. "You're so nosy." Pudding glared at Little Bean. "Sis, I want edamame, spiced peanuts, and conch," Chinggu was said. He had been in Germany for a long time and had mostly eaten grilled pork shoulder and sausages. Over there was very little variety. When he went to a Chinese restaurant, the taste was very unauthentic. She didn't know why, but when she went overseas, even the most original dumplings in her hometown tasted different from the original. So, Qingguo decided to indulge himself in supper this time. "What about you, Buyuan?" Pudding glanced at Gao Buyuan. "I'm okay with anything. I'll eat whatever you order." Tuanshuan and Yuan. Pudding called their names together, which was funny. "Sis, I don't know much about it. Just order whatever you think is good." Qiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuan's food in the military academy was strictly controlled by the instructor. Now that they were back on the island, Lu Yin didn't allow them to overeat, so they didn't know much about the local snacks. Seeing that they all wanted her to make the decision, Pudding didn't refuse. After all, she would be the one paying the bill. Just like that, Pudding went to the door alone and looked at all the aquatic products. "Beauty, what would you like to eat?" One of the lackeys had dyed blonde hair and looked to be in his 20s. He was skinny and had dark skin. "Crabs steamed. I want 10. Bamboo prawns boiled, 2 caddies. Stir-fried conch, 500 grams of spicy. Large conch, slice boiled, 2 caddies. Steamed scallops with garlic and vermicelli. I want 8. Crayfish, spicy, 13 spice, minced garlic, 1 of each of the 4 flavors. 1 set of spiced edamame, 1 set of spiced peanuts, and 1 set of cold cucumber. All right, I want pineapple rice. Give me 3 sets first." Although Pudding had never been here before, she could tell that it was no different from a high-end hotel. The method of cooking seafood was even simpler. Seeing that the seafood was still fresh, he ordered a lot of it. The man hurriedly wrote it down and repeated it to Pudding. After confirming that everything was correct, Pudding turned to the bar to choose a drink and beer. The blonde at the door secretly said to the boss, "Boss, there's an old spendthrift who ordered a lot of our seafood. We can make a fortune. Are you sure they're not here to dine and dash? Don't let them run away." The boss was worried. Pudding ordered a lot of food, so the total cost of the meal was about 3,000 to 4,000 yuan. 3,000 to 4,000 yuan was nothing to the rich second-generation heirs, but for the food stall owners, it was a big deal. No, that girl is dressed very formally. They're probably the young masters and young mistresses of some rich family. They're dressed in designer clothes, the blonde said with a smile. Chapter 4877. Pudding only wanted to fulfill her two cousins' wish and take them out for supper. She really didn't want to cause any trouble, but sometimes trouble would come to you if you didn't cause any trouble. There were a few internet celebrities playing video games nearby. One of them, a good-looking boy, came up to them. He looked at Pudding and asked with a smile, "Miss, can I add you on WeChat?" Before Pudding could reply, Tang Tianjiao glared at him and scolded, "Get out of here. I hate internet celebrities like you the most. Are you retarded from playing video games? Do you think it's your home? Flirting with anyone you can get your hands on." After being scolded by Tang Tianjiao, the boy quickly left with an awkward expression on his face. Xiao Tuanchuan smiled. "Not bad, little Tang. You're good at scolding people." "See, I've always been a bully. When it comes to scolding people, no one can beat me," Tang Tianjiao said and flipped his hair. "Okay, stop bragging. I wonder who was the one who got beaten up this morning." Little Bean laughed bitterly. "Sis, can you give me some face? There are so many people here." Little Tang rolled his eyes at Little Bean. At this time, the dishes were served one after another. The speed at which the dishes were served was very fast. After the dishes were served, the blonde stood beside Pudding and didn't leave. He seemed to have something he couldn't say. "What's wrong? Is there a problem?" Pudding turned around when she saw his strange behavior. Can we place an order now? Our boss said that the dishes on this table are more expensive. If you don't have money after eating." Before he could finish, Pudding opened her bag and took out at least 10,000 yuan. She placed it on the table. "Is that enough?" Yes. Haha. Sorry, we're just a small business." The blonde took the money and ran away. "Sis, you shouldn't have taken so much. Just pay as much as you want so you don't cheat us," Little Bean said. "It's okay. I'll write an invoice later. I'll go through the menu." Pudding didn't want to spend too much money. However, to her surprise, the blonde came back with only 200 yuan for Pudding. "Okay, beauty, here's your change. I gave you 10,000. Pudding's face fell. Little Bean was right. This guy was so evil. "That's right. Your table is 9,850 yuan, but our boss said that he'll round it off and give you a total of 9,800 yuan. Hee. Is your seafood gilded?" Little Bean sneered. "Is your family's spicy lobster a spirit? Why is it so expensive?" Xiao Yuanyuan also smiled like a flower. "You've indeed ordered expensive things. The cost of seafood is high to begin with," the blonde argued. "We're not tourists, we're locals. What you're doing isn't right, is it?" Qingguo looked at Goldie and said, "It's because you're locals that I'm giving you 50 yuan. If you were tourists, you wouldn't even get this treatment." "Hee, you mean I should thank you?" Tang Tianjiao was not in the mood to eat. He stood up with a swoosh, and his eyes became fierce. "No, what's the meaning of this? Didn't you know that seafood was expensive before you ate it?" Blondie complained. "Stop arguing." After speaking, Pudding stood up slightly. She stared at Blondie and said, "Give me the menu. I'll look at the price. Oh, and give me an invoice." "There's no menu or invoice." Blondie's answer was straightforward. "So, you want to fight?" Xiao Tuanchuan clenched her fists and stood up slowly. Chapter 4878. Pudding didn't expect to encounter such a ridiculous situation in the city. She and her father usually treated their clients to meals in their own big hotels or famous restaurants. They never came to places like this where good people mixed with bad people. She didn't expect to be cheated the first time she came. She immediately lost the mood to eat. 9,800 yuan for a meal? Expensive? It really wasn't expensive. When Pudding treated her clients to meals in big hotels, it would cost 30 to 50,000 yuan. Sometimes, a bottle of red wine would cost 50 to 60,000 yuan, but that depended on the place. Pudding didn't believe that this place would cost so much. Also, the crabs she ordered weren't some rare species. They were a local kind of crab that sold at the market for 100 yuan per caddy. She ordered 10 crabs. At most, they were about 5 caddies. Even if the food stall was more expensive than the market, it would be at most 1,000 yuan. Even if the remaining dishes were added together, it was impossible for it to be close to 10,000 yuan. What was this? Expensive seafood? Was this something that was reported in a famous tourist city in the country a long time ago? The owner of a seafood restaurant probably cheated tourists. Even the prawns were priced at 38 yuan per shrimp. So, her bamboo shrimp weren't priced by the price, were they? Pudding wanted to laugh. How did it feel to be cheated in your hometown? What do you guys mean? If you can't afford it, don't eat. The blonde seemed to be provoking them on purpose. Are you bullshitting? My shoes cost 30,000 yuan, and you say that I can't afford your food stall? Do you have any fucking idea who we are? Tang Tianjiao had a bad temper. He reached out and grabbed the blonde's neck. Then, he clenched his teeth and cursed. Boss, help! A customer is hitting me. The blonde's shout immediately attracted everyone's attention. The boss, who was sitting at the door with a gold chain around his neck, stood up and walked over with a watermelon knife in his hand. Behind him were 3 to 5 well-built men. What's going on? Boss, they're here to provoke us, not to eat. The blonde said as he pointed at the group of people. I'm a boss here. If you have a problem, come at me. Don't bully my employees. The boss spoke with a gangster aura. Then, he pulled the blonde away from Tang Tianjiao's hand. Is this a black restaurant? The 7 of us need 9,800 yuan for a meal. Are you kidding me? Gao Buiyuan looked at the boss and spoke first. All of you ordered rare seafood, so it's normal for the price to be high. Don't come if you can't afford it. The boss had the posture of an unscrupulous shop owner. He even dared to speak arrogantly about rare seafood. Then look at me. Don't I look like your father? Tang Tianjiao's mouth had always been very sarcastic. Usually, he was very good at scolding people. The moment he opened his mouth, he would push the conflict to the top. After being scolded like this, the boss immediately lost his face. He directly raised his knife and slashed over. Brat, who are you scolding? If I don't kill you today, but before the knife could fall, someone shouted from behind, wait. The boss turned around and saw a bald man walking over with a group of people behind him. There were about 12 or 13 of them, and all of them were wearing flowery clothes. They looked very sociable. The only thing missing was a tattoo of Peppa Pig on her shoulder. Big Brother Tao, you're here. When the boss saw the man named Big Brother Tao, he immediately became listless. Big Brother Tao was the manager of this food stall. He was the leader of the 7 Stars gang, a well-known local gang. He was always followed by a group of gangsters. He was about 37 or 38 years old, and he was lustful, greedy, and liked to gamble. What's going on? Why are you bullying the little beauties? Big Brother Tao kept glancing at Pudding, Little Bean, Xiao Tuanshuan, and Xiao Yuanyuan as he spoke. His subordinates were right. There were 2 pairs of stunningly beautiful twins here. They were going to be in luck tonight. Chapter 4879. Big Brother Tao. These people are looking for trouble. The boss pointed at these children. It was also a case of the guilty party complaining first. Let's not hurt each other. The most important thing is to have fun, right? Can someone tell me what's going on? Then, Big Brother Tao looked at Pudding. Pudding was the oldest of the girls and was dressed more maturely than Little Bean. Therefore, she attracted the attention of this scumbag uncle. We're here to eat. After we order, they let us pay the bill. I'll take out 10,000 yuan and give you 200 yuan back. I don't think the food we're eating costs more than 9,000 yuan. Is that so? Big Brother Tao looked back at the owner. They're eating expensive food. They ordered 10 crabs at 300 yuan each. The crabs alone cost 3,000 yuan. If they can't afford it, they shouldn't have ordered. Go and get your menu. If it says 300 yuan each, then I'll take it, Pudding said calmly. Our menu fluctuates. Regular customers know that there's no fixed menu. It's all based on the current price. So it's convenient for you to rip off your customers? Pudding glared at the man. Nonsense. What evidence do you have to prove that I'm ripping off my customers? The owner's voice became fiercer. Some customers were so scared that they hurriedly paid the bill and ran away. Pudding took out her phone. Okay, I'll call the Bureau of Commodity Prices now and ask them to confirm it. Pudding was about to make the call when Big Brother Tao stopped her. What do you mean? Pudding's face darkened. Beauty, how about this? Give me some face, this meal. I'll treat you and your friends. You drink a glass of wine with this boss, and this matter will be over. As he spoke, Brother Tao took a glass of beer from one of his men behind him. If it were an ordinary girl who was timid, she would definitely drink it. These gangsters like to show off and drink all the time. Moreover, this person also said that if he paid the bill, he could settle it with the owner after drinking. But who was Pudding? When she went out to do business, she usually didn't drink with big clients. Why would she drink with these hooligans in this shabby food stall? You fucker. Who are you talking to? Drink your fucking ass. Do you know who she is? Stupid cunt. Before Qing Guowu could get angry, Tang Tianjiao was the first to explode. Indeed, although Tang Tianjiao was usually very mischievous, he was especially protective. Seeing this group of hooligans forcing Pudding to drink with that idiot, how could he stand it? Little brat, my big brother is giving you face. He even paid the bill for you and helped you settle this matter. You actually scolded him. Do you not know what's good for you? The lackey behind Brother Tao immediately jumped out and started cursing at Tang Tianjiao. Do we need you to pay for your stupid bill? Don't we have money? A bunch of country bumpkins. Perhaps it was because Tang Tianjiao was too arrogant, so he swaggered and scolded this Brother Tao, making him lose face. Two people immediately rushed up from behind him and rushed towards Tang Tianjiao. However, before they could touch him, Gao Buin and Qin Guowu knocked them down. Their speed was shocking. Whoa, little brother, not bad. You have some skills. What? Are you going to fight today? Seeing that they were going to fight, Brother Tao didn't want to drink anymore. He had drugged the drinks and wanted to knock them out one by one and put them on the bed. Now it seemed that he had to use force. Xiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuanyuan also stood up. No need to fight. It's too troublesome. I'll just kill you. These words came from Xiao Tuanshuan, mighty and domineering. Kill us? Sister, are you kidding? Brother Tao looked at Xiao Tuanshuan with a lewd smile. Chapter 4880. Pudding didn't expect the situation to be so out of control. They actually started a fight over supper and forced the Xiao sisters to kill someone. Opposite them was the owner of the food stall with 7 or 8 waiters, all with sticks in their hands. In addition to Brother Tao's dozen lackeys, there were more than 20 people inside and outside the group. If it were an ordinary person, they would have peed their pants. The onlookers thought that they were just a group of kids and had never seen such a scene. They should have just had a drink and reconciled, but they had to make a big deal out of it. But those people didn't expect that these kids weren't to be trifled with. They knew that the other party outnumbered them, but they still started a fight. Especially young Master Tang, who hadn't fought so happily in a long time. It was the first time he fought with so many brothers and sisters, and it was so satisfying. Pudding and Little Bean had learned Taekwondo and martial arts since they were young. Although they didn't have much combat experience, they were good at fighting. Gao Buin was also very good at fighting at the Public Security University. Tang Tianjiao loved to fight and was very resistant and had fast reflexes. Needless to say, the Qiao sisters were simply perverted existences. Among the 12-year-old children in the world, no one was better than them. As for Qin Guowu, he was the one who challenged Xiao Tuanshuan alone and won. So, what kind of little monsters did those people run into? Brother Tao made Pudding drink and completely angered everyone. Tang Tianjiao and Gao Buiyuan were the first to rush up. After all, they were men and naturally had to charge forward. Qin Guowu followed closely behind. Xiao Yuanyuan pulled Little Bean and said, "You're not good at martial arts. Hide behind them. I'm a Taekwondo champion. If you insult me like this, can we still have fun in the future?" Little Bean didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but she also knew that she was the weakest in this group. In order not to be a burden, she really hid behind them. But there was a reckless guy who saw that she was fat and easy to bully. He pounced on her, wanting to take advantage of her. But before he could touch Little Bean, Gao Buiyuan pulled his hair and threw him out. He fell from the sky, and his spine was about to break. Ah, Buiyuan, good job. I'll give you a thumbs up. Little Bean was very happy to see that. It was so good that her boyfriend was here. When they were fighting, Pudding even whispered to the Chow sisters not to kill them and to teach them a lesson. However, Xiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuan were still extremely vicious. Although he didn't take the other party's life, as long as he hit a vital point, he would either break the other party's arm or sever the other party's tendons. The two sisters were holding very sharp daggers in their hands, and they would definitely injure people when they attacked. In just a short while, the group of burly men had already collapsed. Mournful wails could be heard everywhere, but none of them were injured. This group of little bastards. I didn't expect there to be two of them. Brother Tao, what should we do now? The stall owner looked at Brother Tao and felt his legs go soft. Unscrupulous profiteer, today I will pull out your tendons and peel off your skin. Xiao Tuanshuan held the dagger, his eyes cold. According to her principles, this guy deserved to die and should not live. She walked toward the boss, but was stopped by Pudding. Forget it, Tuanshuan. We've had enough. We can't eat anymore. Let's go. Pudding didn't want to continue because it was almost dawn and she had important things to do tomorrow. Xiao Tuanshuan listened to Pudding and was about to turn around, but she heard more footsteps. Chapter 4881. No one expected their reinforcements to come so quickly. Seeing that the situation wasn't looking good, Brother Tao secretly made a call. Then, he called over 30 people and brought real guns. Seeing the situation, the onlookers were scared away and didn't dare to continue watching. In an instant, only the 7 of them and dozens of people were left on the big food street. Fuck, you called for reinforcements because you can't beat us. Do you want to be arrogant? I look down on you. Tang Tianjiao stomped his feet in anger. What are you afraid of? If one comes, we'll kill one. If 2 come, we'll kill both. Xiao Yuan took out a lollipop from somewhere and held it in her mouth with a smile. I wanted to solve your conflict out of kindness. I didn't expect you to be so ignorant. The one called Brother Tao touched his bald head and slowly opened his mouth in a cultured manner. Stop bullshitting. You're kind? You drugged the beer. Do you think we're blind? Little Beans said. The beer looked like an ordinary beer, but the color was darker than the beer. However, the color was a little darker than ordinary beer, and the taste was different. It exuded a faint fragrance. It was the smell of the drug. Little Bean was a medical student, and the Chow sisters had a better sense of smell than ordinary people, so they knew there was something fishy in the beer. As for Pudding, although she wasn't as sharp, she was good at reading people's expressions. When Brother Tao appeared, she knew he didn't come with good intentions. So, no matter what, she wouldn't drink that beer. Tang Tianjiao was right. The people who forced her to drink in this world hadn't been born yet. Who do these gangsters think they are? After being exposed, Brother Tao became angry out of humiliation. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being rude. You broke so many things. Pay is small, but you have to apologize. Take all 7 of them back to the punishment hall. At Brother Tao's command, the 30 or so people behind him rushed forward. Just as Xiao Tuanshuan was about to make a move, he saw them raise their black muzzles. They didn't expect them to have guns, especially the use of guns on such a large scale, which was banned in the country. Tang Tianjiao was dumbfounded and didn't know what to do. On the other hand, the others were very calm. They had no intention of being afraid at all. Little girl, this isn't a toy gun. Be careful of accidental fire. Brother Tao was extremely arrogant at this moment, thinking that he was going to win for sure. Qin Gua, who hadn't spoken much, sighed slightly. Brat, why are you sighing? Guns are not allowed in the country at all, let alone on such a large scale. Your gun is naturally real, but it's the lowest grade air gun. It's the kind used to shoot birds, right? You used to poach, didn't you? Bald donkey. Qin Guogua's words amused everyone. On the other hand, Brother Tao's face alternated between green and white. He was clearly unable to get out of this situation. Indeed, although the 7 Stars gang had a little reputation in the local area, it was impossible for them to be so arrogant as to have so many illegal guns. Furthermore, he had swaggered out so openly. Wasn't he an idiot? Just this crime alone was enough to put them all in jail for 8 to 10 years. So what if it's an air gun? It's easy to kill you. Brat, if you don't want to die, shut up. Chingguo walked up with a smile. He walked up to one of the gangsters and pressed the muzzle against his chest. Why don't you try to shoot me and see what happens? In the darkness, Qin Yuyao's voice was exceptionally pleasant. At that moment, Pudding and Little Bean had an illusion that their little brother was more than 14 years old. Chapter 4882. Seeing this, Qingguo's friends broke out in cold sweat. The elders of South Hill Manor were also shocked. It turned out that Xiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuanyuan always had trackers on them. It was implanted into their skin, so no matter where they were, Lu Yin and Xiao Fei would find them. Lu Yin had been paying attention to this since the beginning of the argument. She was so excited to watch the show that she called Qin Shu and Huamin over. The four of them sat in the study and watched the children's reactions to the outside world. When she saw the first fight, Lu Yin almost clapped her hands and cheered. Although it was called a fight, it was actually the 7 of them who were torturing the big guys one-sidedly. During this time, Huamin was worried and asked if they should go and save them. Lu Yin immediately denied it and said shamelessly that if the 7 of them couldn't even deal with these good-for-nothings, then they were good-for-nothings too. Indeed, she didn't know if she had confidence in others. But Lu Yin was very confident in her 2 little monsters. Xiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuanyuan were people who had truly been stained with blood. They had killed terrorists. How could they be scared by these small shrimps? Qin Shu put his arm around Hua Min's shoulder and told her not to worry and to continue watching the children's performance. Lu Yin didn't intend to help the children when they were in danger. Instead, she asked her subordinates to stop the police officers who came to help. This made it more difficult for the children. It wasn't until Qin Guo walked out calmly and put himself under the gun. Lu Yin gave him a thumbs up. As expected of my nephew, you're a real man. This kid, won't he be in danger? Huamin felt like he was going to have a heart attack. Although he knew that his son's skills were extraordinary, if he would point his gun directly at someone else's muzzle and it really went off, wouldn't he lose his life? Honey, what should we do? Let's go and help. Huamin was panicking again. Sis, don't worry. Look at your son's disdainful eyes. It means he doesn't take them seriously at all. Have some confidence in your son, okay? Lu Yin felt that her sister had become timid as she got older. Not to mention that there were still 7 of them. Even if there were only Xiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuanyuan, they would be able to dye half the sky red with blood and kill her without leaving anything behind. I shouldn't have let them eat supper. Let's just come back and eat. Huamin regretted it. Lu Yin was the opposite. I think it's a good moment. If it weren't for this incident, I wouldn't have seen Pudding fight. She's so nimble in high heels. It's a pity that she's the president. She should have been a mercenary with me. After Lu Yin said that, she felt Mr. Qin's cold gaze and immediately shut her mouth, not daring to say another word. Pudding was Qin Shu's beloved daughter and had been groomed to be a CEO. Brat, don't think that I won't shoot. Brother Tao was stunned and embarrassed. Indeed, he did not dare to shoot, because as long as the gunshot was heard, the nature of the situation would change. The security in this city had always been good, and they were good at fighting gangs. If the police came, their good days would come to an end. So, he only wanted to use the gun to scare these kids, but he didn't expect to end up in a stalemate. Bald donkey, believe it or not, you'll see the king of hell before you shoot. Xiao Yuanyuan took out her lollipop and licked it playfully. Chapter 4883. Little bitch, you're scaring me. Do you think I grew up being scared? Before Big Brother Tao could finish, a muffled sound came from behind him. Then, one of his men fell to the ground, his chest exploding. Since it was a small explosion, no one else was hurt. What? What's going on? The bald man was dumbfounded. I put sticky bombs on all of you. When I turn on the switch, they'll explode one by one. Of course, the drug won't kill you directly, but you'll be in the hospital for half a year and you'll be disabled for the rest of your life. But I'm good to you, so I gave you a bigger dose than the others. If your bombs explode, not only will you die, but at least 3 of the people around you will die as well. Are you surprised? Xiao Yuanyuan looked at the bald man and said slowly. After she finished speaking, the people around the bald man immediately scattered, treating him as if he was a monster. You're lying. The bald man was still struggling for his life. If you don't believe me, let's try it. Xiao Yuanyuan took out a small black remote control. She pretended to press it. The bald man was so scared that he knelt on the ground and wet his pants. Yes, he was so scared that he peed his pants. Madam, I haven't lived long enough. Spare me. Yuanyuan, you're awesome. I like you. Little Bean felt so good. The 2 cousins of the Qiao family were really monsters. They went out for supper and brought sticky bombs with them. They were so powerful. Xiao Yuanyuan, I want to be your disciple. You're so awesome. Tang Tianjia was also impressed. It's just a small KS. It's nothing. My sister didn't do much. Xiao Yuanyuan was the opposite of Qiao Tuanchuan. She was quite humble. This way, the bald man lost completely before the second scuffle. Seeing their boss kneel down and beg for mercy, the men didn't dare to point their guns at her. They immediately withered. Heroine, please let us go. I can let you go. Go, call your buddy, the owner of the food stall, Little Bean said. She had come up with another idea. At this time, Baldy's men brought over the stall owner who had been beaten black and blue. His legs were already trembling. Madam, I'm as blind as a bat. Please don't blow me up. The boss was completely cowardly. You, the 2 of you, come here and watch each other. Little Bean pointed at the bald man and the food stall owner. The 2 men were so scared that they didn't dare to get up. They were still kneeling straight. Then they looked at each other according to Little Bean's instructions. Closer, Little Bean said. Hearing Little Bean's words, the 2 of them moved closer. Come, give me a kiss. Let everyone see. Pudding, Chingu, Galvin was speechless. Sister Little Bean, what are you doing? Xiao Yuanyuan was speechless. Ha, I'm joking. I'm just trying to ease the tension. Little Bean couldn't stop laughing. She didn't dare to imagine the scene of the 2 men kissing. You 2 listen to my command. I say 1, 2, 3, and then you 2 slap each other's mouths. Slap each other as hard as you can. If you don't use your full strength, I'll ask my cousin to activate the bomb. When the time comes, I'll blow you 2 into pieces. Chapter 4884. Little Bean was a mischievous girl and always had many ideas to prank people. Therefore, he suggested that the 2 of them slap each other, and they had to slap each other with all their might. The others almost burst out laughing when they heard this. Although Big Brother Tao was extremely unwilling, he had no choice. He was especially afraid of the sticky bomb in the little girl's hand. He was so scared that he quickly reached out his hand to slap them. In just a short while, their faces were swollen and swollen. Only after they were done did they vent their anger. On the way back, Pudding accidentally cut her foot on broken glass. Although she kept saying that she was fine, everyone was still worried. They sent Pudding directly to Southside, and then she did a full-body checkup. Little Bean bandaged her wound herself. After a while, the sky was completely clear. The 7 of them had no intention of going home. Instead, they went to have breakfast. This time, Qingguo paid the bill. He didn't want to go down the same path and cause less trouble. Qingguo took everyone to a very high-end Cantonese morning tea shop. The breakfast cost 5,000 to 6,000 yuan, which was also a big deal. While eating, Pudding deliberately mischievously took a photo of her sister's bandaged foot. She posted it on her WeChat moments, went to eat supper, and got into a fight. My sister is injured. Heartbroken. Not only did she post it on her WeChat moments, but she also took the opportunity when Pudding went to the bathroom. She asked Xiao Yuanyuan to hack into Pudding's phone password. She also posted the same photo on Pudding's WeChat moments. She also deliberately wrote, I'm injured and have 3 days off. Don't disturb me. Don't look for acquaintances. This post was not a big deal, but the entire WeChat moments was about to explode. The first to line up was the reaction of the elders. Chinchu only sent one emoji, which was heartbroken. It was obvious how much he loved his daughter as a father. Huamin, Pudding, are you badly injured? Come back and let mommy take a look. Luyan, Pudding, you're injured. Wait for Andy to avenge you and kill those trash. Zhu Lingling, oh my God, my darling, how did you get injured? Gao Ran, is Pudding serious? Did you go to the hospital? Jixin, what happened to Pudding? What happened? Bella, Pudding, are you home? Jiang Xiaowei, what's wrong with Pudding? How did the little baby get hurt? Pudding was stunned by the number of replies. Her expression turned cold when she saw the post on her WeChat Moments. Who posted it on Moments? Little Bean immediately lowered her head, didn't say anything, and played dead. With Little Bean's IQ, she can't unlock my phone. Which one of you helped her? Pudding was smart enough to know that her dumb little sister wasn't that powerful. It must be some expert. He wondered if it was Buyuan, Vua, or the Qiao sisters. Qiao Yuanyuan gulped and pointed at Little Bean. Big sis, I didn't do it on purpose. Second sis asked me to undo it. Hey, Qiao Yuanyuan, how can you betray me so easily? Little Bean was furious. I'm afraid that big sister will be angry with me. Sis, I'm doing this for your own good. You'll be busy with your coming-of-age ceremony these few days. Why don't you take a break? Chin Moo Moo, if you dare touch my phone again, I'll chop off your dog paws. Pudding picked up her phone and deleted the post on her WeChat Moments. She didn't forget to post a new one. My sister was joking about my phone. Don't take it seriously. Inside the Wei family's private mansion, Wei Liao went to work early and went to the airport to pick up clients before dawn. Wei Yinshu and Jiang Xiaowei were at home. The maid had made an exquisite Chinese breakfast, and the mother and son were eating porridge. Jiang Xiaowei showed her son the phone. Pudding got hurt last night. Wei Yinshu's hand that was holding the milk paused. Chapter 4885. He pretended to be calm and glanced at the photo. It was indeed Pudding's feet. Pudding's feet were white and slender. Her skin looked so tender. Pudding was fatter than her sister, so she wouldn't be so slender. He only took a look but didn't say anything. Son, aren't you worried? Jiang Xiaowei asked tentatively. Does my thoughts still matter? She won't care. With that, Wei Yinshu continued to drink his milk and lowered his head to eat his porridge. His silence made Jiang Xiaowei's heart ache. She knew that her son couldn't let it go. Otherwise, he wouldn't have traveled thousands of miles to come back to China to attend Pudding's coming-of-age ceremony. However, seeing Pudding injured, he was sad, but he couldn't comfort her. The child must be very sad. To comfort her son, Jiang Xiaowei said quietly, Son, I got someone to tell your fortune. It's that Master Wu, remember? Yes. Wei Yinshu looked up and listened to his mother seriously. I asked Master Wu about your fate with Pudding. Then what did he say? Although he didn't believe in fortune-telling, that Master Wu seemed to be quite powerful. He heard that Uncle Qin Shu and Annie Huamin admired him very much. Therefore, Wei Yinshu subconsciously started to get nervous, as if he was afraid that Master Wu's divination wasn't very good. Master Wu said that you and Pudding are fated. He told you to seize the opportunity. Don't miss it. Jiang Xiaowei also wanted to encourage her son. After all, she felt that her son was too quiet sometimes. He liked to keep everything to himself. The more he did this, the harder it was for misunderstandings to be resolved. I got it. Thank you, Mom. After breakfast, Jiang Xiaowei went to the Municipal Public Security Bureau to deal with some matters. Wei Yinshu drove to the Wei family's old mansion to visit his grandmother. On the way, he took out his phone from time to time. There were a few times when he wanted to call Pudding directly. He wanted to ask her how her injuries were, but he resisted the urge in the end. He still couldn't tell her that he was back. He was afraid of her coldness and indifference. He was afraid that Pudding wouldn't care whether he was back or not. In the end, Wei Yinshu resisted the urge to make a call and drove directly to the Wei family's old mansion. He did not expect to run into Tian Tian here. At first, Tian Tian was not liked, but as she grew older, she became more and more likable, especially the elders. She even learned some Huangmei opera and sang it for Grandma Wei. Wei Yunchu's grandmother was from Wannan and loved to listen to Huangmei opera. When Wei Yunshu arrived, Tian Tian had just finished singing and was eating fruits with the old lady. When she saw Wei Yunshu, she was so surprised that her jaw almost dropped. "Brother Yunshu, why are you here?" Tian Tian was shocked. Wei Yunshu ignored her and looked directly at the old lady. "Grandma." "Yunshu, is that Yunshu? Come here." The old lady stood up agitatedly and staggered toward her grandson. The old lady's health was not very good. 2 years ago, she had gone to America because she missed her grandson. When she came back, she fell seriously ill. Later on, because of her heart condition, she could not continue to take long-distance flights. So she missed her grandson very much. Now that he saw his grandson return to the country, he was very excited. "Grandma, are you feeling well?" Wei Yunshu took a few steps forward and supported the old lady. Yes. Grandma is fine. Little Chui, go upstairs and call his grandfather down. Tell him that Yunshu is back." Chapter 4886. Cantonese morning tea. You guys should go home after breakfast. You must be sleepy after staying up all night. Pudding looked at the others. "What about you, sis?" Xiao Tuanshuan looked at Pudding. "I'll go to the company. I have something to do there." "You didn't sleep all night either. Go home and rest," Xiao Yuanyuan persuaded. "No, it's urgent. You guys should go home." Unable to persuade Pudding, the other 6 drove back to South Hill Manor after breakfast. Pudding went to GK headquarters directly. However, just as she was about to enter the company, the receptionist at the door said, "President Sheen." President Sheen said that if you come, you should go to the office directly. "Okay." Pudding nodded and took the elevator to the top floor. Inside the president's office, Pudding saw her father. Qin Shu was wearing a sapphire blue suit. He was old, but he was still extremely handsome. Qin Shu was probably the only person in the world who was as handsome as him. If there was anyone more handsome than him, it would probably be his son, Qin Yuyao. "Dad." Pudding's eyes softened at the sight of her father. "Sit down." Qin Shu waved his hand and flipped through the documents in his hand. Then, the door to the office was opened again, and 2 private doctors walked in. "President Qin, take a look at my daughter's foot. She's injured." Qin Shu pointed at Pudding and said, Dad, I'm fine. It's just a small injury." Pudding was a bit panicked. It was so early in the morning, and her father called 2 private doctors. What was going on? "President Qin, let's take a look." Pudding raised her head and looked at the 2 private doctors of the group. She also felt that her father was making a big fuss over nothing. However, seeing her father's serious expression, she didn't dare to refuse in case he got angry. Pudding stretched out her foot and let the 2 doctors examine it. Qin Shu made a phone call. Pudding didn't know who he was calling. She only heard him say, "Bring them here and smash the store." It was only a few words, but Pudding had a feeling that it had something to do with her. She also saw her father's face had a hint of anger. She was so scared that she didn't dare to make sound. 5 minutes later, "How's my daughter?" Qin Shu got up and walked over. CEO Qin Jr. is fine. He was just injured by the broken glass and was disinfected in time. With professional bandages, it will scab in 3 or 4 days. Don't you need a film? Qin Shu frowned slightly. Pudding, there's really no need for an X-ray, CEO Qin. Little CEO Qin's injuries are really minor. Qin Shu was silent for 3 seconds after hearing what the 2 private doctors said. Then, he nodded with a cold expression. That's all for now. After being tormented, the 2 private doctors quietly left the office. Only the father and daughter were left in the huge office. Pudding was a little scared. She had never seen her father so angry before, especially because she fought. Qin Shu didn't say anything. He walked to the water dispenser and poured a cup of hot water for his daughter. Have you eaten something this morning? Yes. Pudding bit her lip. Did you sleep last night? Yes. Then go home and sleep later. I'll let your Uncle Yang handle your work. Dad, I'm sorry. Pudding lowered her head and apologized to Qin Shu seriously like a child who had done something wrong. Seeing his daughter like this, Qin Shu's heart instantly softened. Silly girl, Why are you apologizing? Dad, I fought with my brothers and sisters last night and accidentally hurt myself. It's my fault for making you worry. Pudding was very obedient and also felt very guilty. She knew that she had indeed made her father worried. Chapter 4887. There was another 5 seconds of silence. Chin Shu patted Pudding's head, just like he did when she was young. His voice was very gentle, the kind of gentle voice that only family members could hear. He said, I saw what happened last night. Pudding looked up in surprise. She couldn't believe it. Your aunt installed trackers and surveillance cameras on Tuan Tuan and Yuan Yuan. We saw the whole process. In order to train your adaptability and hands-on skills, she even stopped the police from rescuing you. You did well, but we didn't expect you to be injured in the end. I was careless, Pudding said. Dad will avenge you. I won't let go of the people who bullied you. Chin Shu hadn't cleaned up a mess for a long time, but this time, for his daughter, he really did it to the extreme. Those underlings of the mafia had always been sneaky and had done all sorts of heinous things. Therefore, Chin Shu ordered them to be caught before the police could catch them. Then, they would be brought to the wilderness and beaten half to death. That seafood stall was also smashed to smithereens. The stall owner's feet were covered in broken glass. This was the price for his daughter's injury. He didn't care what others said or how they looked at him. He only wanted to be a protective parent and a father who cared about his daughter. Dad, sorry to make you worry. I'm so useless. Don't say that. You just need to rest well. Is tomorrow's coming-of-age ceremony okay? Why don't we postpone it for a few days? Chin Shu asked for her opinion. Pudding shook her head. No, Dad, I'm really fine. I'll be fine tomorrow. Okay, then you can go back first. I'll get the driver to send you. Okay. Pudding knew that she couldn't stay and continue working. Her father must be very worried and heartbroken. So, she obediently walked out of the office and went downstairs. She didn't expect to meet Liao Mukin in the lobby. He had just finished his vacation and was coming over to shoot a promotional video today. He walked face to face with Pudding. Seeing the gauze on her foot, his expression was a little complicated. Actually, he had seen the WeChat message yesterday. Pudding deleted it later. He knew that she must be injured. As expected, good morning, boss. Good morning, Pudding replied politely. Boss, your foot. Liao Mukin, mind your own business. Pudding shut him up with one sentence. Aren't I worried about you? If you can't walk, I can carry you. No need. Then where are you going now? Shall I drive you? Liao Mukin smiled brightly. No need. Boss, tomorrow is your coming-of-age ceremony. My invitation. Liao Mukin was really not afraid of death. At this time, the boss was already in such a state, yet he still had the nerve to mention the invitation. He thought that he would be scolded badly again. To his surprise, Pudding agreed. She said, I'll call Director Yang later and ask him to give you one. You can go and get it yourself. Liao Mukin was stunned for a moment. What? You don't want to go? Pudding stared at his face. Think about it. Thank you, boss. This is the rhythm of the sun rising from the west, he muttered softly. As soon as she walked out of GK and saw Liao Mukin's face, she felt sad again. Looking at the blue sky, she asked in her heart, Handsome Sue, do you see? I'm 18 years old. Tomorrow is Little Beans and my coming-of-age ceremony. If only you were still here, how great would that be? Chapter 4888. Chin Shu was furious that Pudding was injured, but he didn't show it in front of his daughter. However, the people who offended his daughter were all unlucky. She didn't even give face to Gao Ran. When Gao Ran's men went to arrest them, they found that they were all missing. At first, Gao Ran thought it was Lu Yin who did it, so he called Huamin to ask about it. Huamin put down the phone and went to ask Lu Yin. He went to the top of the mountain to practice boxing in front of the Chiao sisters. Lu Yin sat alone on the balcony on the top floor, eating ice cream and basking in the sun. She was very relaxed. Yin, Huamin called out softly. Sis. Lu Yin turned around, and when she saw it was her sister, her expression softened. Why didn't you go up the mountain with Tuan Tuan and Yuan Yuan? When it comes to practicing martial arts, It's enough that there's trouble. There's no need for me to go personally. She smiled. Yeah, and what happened last night, those people. Did you do it? Huamin didn't want to beat around the bush with her sister and asked directly. What do you mean by I did it? Lu Yin was confused. Gao Ran just called me and said that the people from the Municipal Public Security Bureau went to arrest them, but they didn't catch them. They disappeared mysteriously, and there are more than 30 people in total. Huamin's tone was calm. She didn't blame Lu Yin at all. After all, those scumbags deserved no sympathy. It really wasn't me this time. Those small fries couldn't even beat my daughter. Why would I do it? What a joke. But if it wasn't me, I'm afraid there's only one person who could do it. Then Lu Yin paused and looked at her sister. Sis, why don't you ask your husband about it? Huamin didn't look surprised at all. She had guessed it when Lu Yin denied it. The reason why Qin Shu was angry was obvious. His precious daughter was injured. Pudding's injury was caused by her accidentally stepping on broken glass. But if it weren't for those scumbags, Pudding wouldn't have hurt her foot while eating supper. Everyone knew that Qin Shu doted on his daughters. He even cared for his two sisters more than Qin Guagua. Most of these super tycoons raised their sons and daughters in poverty. The daughters could do anything, but the sons couldn't do anything. Fortunately, Qin Guagua wasn't jealous, and he was independent. He never cared about whether his sister was hurt more or if he was hurt more. In his world, they were all a family. As the two of them chatted, they heard footsteps approaching. Lu Yin and Huamin turned around and saw Pudding, who had just returned home. Mom, Auntie, Pudding, is your foot okay? Huamin knew that his daughter was injured, so he immediately looked at her foot. Pudding shook her head. It's fine. I bandaged it at Southside and did a full body checkup. Dad even asked 2 private doctors to check it again at the company. See, I told you my brother-in-law was furious. This time, Lu Yin looked as if she had expected it. Huamin also agreed that this was Qin Shu's doing. Is your dad angry? Huamin asked his daughter. Pudding nodded. He's a little angry. I haven't seen him like this in a long time. It's my fault. I made you guys worry. It's not your fault. But, Pudding, you didn't use your full strength during the fight last night. You were hiding your strength, weren't you? Lu Yin smirked and pointed at Pudding. Chapter 4889. Lu Yin saw the video from last night very clearly, including when Xiao Yuan placed the sticky explosives on the enemies. In fact, Xiao Yuan wasn't omnipotent. She didn't stick explosives on everyone. Brother Tao didn't have any on him at all. However, he was scared by Xiao Yuan. In this aspect, Xiao Yuan was very similar to how Lu Yin scared him back then. Their methods were the same, and they even said that there was no such thing as too much deception in war. Xiao Tuanshuan was really ruthless. Because she couldn't kill people, she directly broke the opponent's hand, leg, and spine. After that battle, the people who were hurt by Xiao Tuanshuan would probably be in a wheelchair for the rest of their lives, even if they didn't die. Although Tang Tianjiao was the most active and caused the most trouble, his kung fu was actually the weakest here. It could only be considered a small fight. Qin Guoguo was quite good at keeping a low profile and not showing off, but his methods were extremely vicious. Little Bean almost didn't participate and was completely protected by everyone. After all, Gao Yuan, who was the best boyfriend, was there. Gao Yuan really protected Little Bean. He was never more than 3 meters away from her, afraid that she would get hurt. Lu Yin saw the love in his eyes clearly. As for Pudding, although she also participated in the battle, she didn't use her full strength. It could be said that she used less than 30% of her strength. She didn't use her real skills and was just going through the motions. So, when her auntie exposed her today, she immediately knew what was going on. Auntie, I knew that my brothers and sisters were all powerful people. I didn't need to do anything. I wanted to give them a chance to show off. You're so smart. Lu Yin chuckled. Pudding walked over and hugged Lu Yin's neck affectionately. Perhaps only in front of Lu Yin could Pudding be willful and impudent like a half-grown child. Mom, I want to drink your Hong Kong-style milk tea. Okay, your foot is injured. Don't walk too much. Be careful not to get it wet. Huamin was still worried about his daughter's injury and didn't forget to remind her before he left. "I'm fine, Mom, don't worry." After making up an excuse to send Huamin away, Lu Yin pinched Pudding's cheek before she could say anything. "Little brat, tell me, you purposely sent your mother away. What do you want to do now? Don't tell me you want to borrow money. Auntie, you're really thinking too much. Although I can't say that I have more money than you, but I have enough money to spend for a lifetime. I'm really not borrowing money. What are you doing? Lend me your weapon." "No, I'm not interested in weapons," Pudding said. "You're in love. Are you afraid your mom will scold you?" Lu Yin guessed. "I'm not." "Andy, don't talk nonsense." Pudding finally realized that her Andy was the one who didn't know what to say. "I'm not talking nonsense. Aren't you and that little artist under your company quite popular recently? There are reports from foreign media. They're really just my employees." Pudding continued to sweat. Lu Yin laughed so hard that tears almost came out of her eyes. She spoke nonsense so casually, but Pudding explained it so seriously that she was speechless. "Andy, Little Bean and I planned a big secret gift for my parents tomorrow," Pudding whispered into Lu Yan's ear. "We're going to hold a wedding for them," Lu Yan said. "Little Bean told you?" Pudding was surprised to see her auntie so calm, thinking that Little Bean must have leaked the news. "Little Bean didn't tell me. But when you mentioned the big gift for them, I immediately thought of a wedding. After all, they've been married for decades without a wedding. I don't understand such a weird thing." Chapter 4890. Although Lu Yin and Xiao Fei's wedding didn't cause a sensation all over the world, it was still a small event. It was carried out in a low-key manner, but the ceremony was still held. Qin Shu and Huamin went over directly from China. It was also their first time on Lu Yan's island. Professor Lu also arrived in time. Lu Yin was wearing a wedding dress and looked as beautiful as a fairy. All her subordinates partied on the island for 3 days and 3 nights. Even someone like Huamian, who had great self-control, was dead drunk. She hugged Qin Shu and cried and laughed. Later, after Lu Yin and Xiao Fei's relationship with the Russians eased, the Russians suggested that they hold another wedding. Lu Yin didn't want to hold another one because she thought it was too troublesome. The wedding on the island was enough for her and Xiao Fei to remember for the rest of their lives. However, Lu Yin always felt sorry that her sister didn't wear a wedding dress. She had asked her sister about it, but Huamian didn't have an answer. He felt that a wedding was unnecessary and meaningless. Therefore, even though Qin Shu had wanted to hold one for a long time, he didn't want to force Huamin. Therefore, it was delayed until the children were 18 years old. Pudding and Little Bean's coming-of-age ceremony was planned by Qin Shu and Huamin. A lot of things were flown back from abroad. Even their dresses were pure Chinese. The Han Chinese dress was made of the best brocade, and it was handmade by the best tailor in China for 3 months. The sleeves and hem of the Han Chinese dress were embroidered with golden threads. It was extremely luxurious and gorgeous. Qin Shu and Huamin planned everything for their daughters, but they didn't know that the 2 children had long wanted to do something for their parents. Pudding and Little Bean secretly customized their parents' expensive gowns and wedding dresses according to their measurements. The wedding venue was also hidden under their decorations, so their parents wouldn't notice anything wrong. Since it was a surprise, they had to keep it a secret in advance. Pudding had specially chosen the wedding rings when she flew to Italy more than a month ago. Her father's ring was inlaid with a rare and precious black diamond. Her mother's ring was inlaid with a pink diamond. It was very girlish and dazzling. On the inside of the 2 rings, there were 4 small words engraved in the same font. It was written by Pudding herself, and then the craftsman matched the words one by one. The words were, "Chu Mian's life." These were all done by the 2 children with their hearts. They really hoped that their parents could accompany each other until they grew old without any regrets. If I can't even guess that, how stupid am I? I wouldn't be able to live until now. Lu Yin chuckled. "Annie, do you think my parents will like it?" "Of course she will. Your mom will be so touched that she'll cry." Lu Yin could even imagine Huamian being touched and surprised by the news. "Then you have to help us keep it a secret, Annie." Pudding snickered. Of course, but Pudding, forget it. It's okay. I just think maybe you'll have a surprise at the coming-of-age ceremony, Lu Yin said meaningfully. Did Ani prepare some good gifts for us? Pudding didn't think too much about it. She just thought that her aunt had prepared another thoughtful gift for them. I give you gifts every year. You two can't be surprised anymore. Then what is it? Nothing. Maybe you'll know when the time comes. Lu Yin didn't explain, and Pudding wasn't very curious, so she didn't ask. She didn't know that the surprise Lu Yin mentioned was Wei Yunchu's sudden appearance. Others didn't notice, but Wei Yunchu's return couldn't escape Lu Yan's eyes. The moment Wei Yunshu boarded the plane in the States, her subordinates sent back the news, so Lu Yin knew immediately. She couldn't interfere with her niece's sadomasochistic love affair, so she had to let the young people handle it themselves. Chapter 4891. Wei Family Mansion. Wei Yunshu stayed with his grandparents for a long time. After they took a nap, he went to the fountain in front of the mansion to get some fresh air. Yunshu. When Tian saw Wei Yunshu leave, she immediately followed him. Her voice was purposely filled with a sweet charm. Wei Yunshu didn't say anything. He had always known Tian's true colors, even more so than Pudding and Little Bean. During the 5 years he had been abroad, he was well aware of Tian's debauchery abroad. However, he wasn't interested in anything about Tian. He wouldn't tell others about her behind her back, nor would he care about her. He didn't think of her as someone who had nothing to do with him. Yunshu, why did you come back? Pudding hurt you once 5 years ago. You shouldn't give her a chance to hurt you again. It's none of your business. Wei Yunshu's tone was extremely cold. Yunshu, I'm doing this for your own good. You don't have to pretend to be pitiful in front of me. I'm not my aunt and uncle. I won't fall for it. Wei Yunshu exposed her without giving her any face. This made Tian feel very awkward, or rather, she couldn't get out of the situation. Brother Yunshu, all these years, no matter how bad my character is, I've never hurt you. I know you don't like me. You think I'm trash. I'm not worthy of you. But Pudding isn't worthy of you either. In the 5 years you were gone, you kept yourself clean and only cared about your studies. What about her? Look at her in China. She's living a carefree life. As far as I know, a few days ago, Liao Mukin got into a drunken fight at night. In the middle of the night, Pudding personally drove to clean up the aftermath. She even sent Liao Mukin to the hospital and stayed with him until after midnight. Have you ever received such treatment? Shut up. He had to admit that Tian's words made Wei Yunshu's heart sour. He was jealous. Indeed, he and Pudding grew up together, but Pudding had never been particularly close to him. Sometimes, Wei Yunshu looked at Little Bean and Buiyuan with envy. Little Bean could show off her affection to Gao Buiyuan without any scruples. From time to time, she would pinch his face and pat his head. When she was angry, she would throw an iron fist. Pudding, on the other hand, was always high and mighty, never saying anything. No matter if she was happy or unhappy, sad or sad, her face was always as calm as water. Wei Yunshu was often confused. How was Pudding a Scorpio? She was clearly a Capricorn. There were too many things going on in his mind. His heart was already in turmoil, but on the surface, he was still calm. It was as if you could never stimulate her nerves. He didn't know if she really didn't care or if she just didn't want to talk about it. Tian was delighted to see that Wei Yunshu was enraged. She took a few more steps forward and said, Brother Yunshu, Pudding really isn't the goddess you think she is. She's just a person. She's not otherworldly, and she's not selfless either. Do you know why she's so interested in Liao Mukin? He's not as good-looking as you, and he's not as good as you in every way, but he can get her attention. Do you want to know why? Wei Yunshu remained silent. To be honest, he didn't really believe Pudding and Liao Mukin. He knew what kind of person Pudding was. Ever since they were young, they had known each other for so many years, but she had always been indifferent to him. This small-time artist had only been in the company for a few years. It was impossible for Pudding to fall in love with him at first sight. However, in the next second, Tian's words completely chilled Wei Yunshu's heart. Brother Yunshu, You probably don't know, but there's always been someone in Pudding's heart, and Liao Mukin looks very much like the person in Pudding's heart. Tian Tian spoke with great emotion. She had indeed spent a long time finding out from Pudding's employees. She believed that this news would definitely stimulate Wei Yinshu. How did you know? Wei Yinshu turned around abruptly, his eyes cold. Chapter 4892. Seeing that she was on the right track, Tian Tian was pumped up. She mustered up her courage and took 2 steps closer to Wei Yinshu. Then, she purposely said mysteriously, "The entire GK knows about this. Yinshu, you really don't care about what's going on in China. My friend works there, and he said that even Pudding looks at Wei Yinshu differently than other people." How is it different? Although Wei Yinshu was still jealous and uncomfortable, he was also very curious. Why was this man different from others? Yinshu, come here. Let's sit down and talk. This is a long story. I'll make you a cup of coffee first. It wasn't easy for Tian Tian to talk to Wei Yinshu, so how could she let go of this good opportunity? Therefore, she coaxed and lied to get a chance to talk to Wei Yinshu. Wei Yinshu didn't really listen to what Tian Tian said, and he didn't even touch his coffee. He only focused on one thing, which was that Liao Mukin looked like the person in Pudding's heart. Wei Yinshu didn't care about Liao Mukin, but he cared about the person in Pudding's heart. His curiosity was suddenly piqued. He really wanted to know who the person in Pudding's heart was. What kind of person was so powerful that he could occupy Pudding's heart for so long? Holding his phone and looking at Liao Mukin's photo, Wei Yinshu was silent for a long time. South Hill Manor, Pudding was injured, so she didn't stay with her siblings. Instead, she lay quietly in her bedroom. She was extremely bored. She took out her phone and browsed the financial news. Then, she looked at the stocks and trends. Pudding was indeed a financial genius. She could make money by herself when she was very young. Now, she didn't rely on her father's company. She had her own venture capital company, which dealt in stocks, futures, foreign exchange, and so on. Suddenly, her WeChat rang. Pudding picked it up and glanced at it, slightly disappointed. For some reason, every time her phone rang, she hoped that it was from Wei Yinshu. Even a simple greeting would be good. Although they had blocked each other on WeChat, they could text each other, "Liao Mukin, boss, are you busy?" Pudding, yes. Liao Mukin, if you're busy, just give me 5 minutes, okay? Pudding, I said I'm busy. Shouldn't you say something like then? Liao Mukin, haha, but I'm not an ordinary person, so I don't walk the normal path. Pudding, what is it? Tell me. Liao Mukin, there is indeed something very important. I've been thinking about it all day. Pudding, what's wrong? Do you want to jump ship? Liao Mukin, haha, boss, you really want someone to poach me? Aren't you afraid that I'll run away? Pudding, I'm not afraid. Just pay me 3 times the penalty. Liao Mukin, evil capitalist. I knew you wouldn't be so kind. So you're after the breach of contract. In order to prevent you from getting what you want, I'm not going to change jobs for the rest of my life. I'll retire at GK. Okay? Pudding, what is it? Are you going to tell me or not? I don't have time to chat with you. Pudding felt that this guy was always joking, so she didn't want to talk nonsense with him. Bullshitting wasn't Pudding's style, but it suited Little Bean. Liao Mukin, boss, I just wanted to ask how your foot is. When you left the company this morning, I saw that you had trouble walking. Your injury must be quite serious, so I've been worried for the whole day. I wanted to ask you something. I have some medicinal wine given to me by a fan. That fan's family is an old Chinese doctor. Although I'm not a famous doctor, the folk remedies of quack doctors are sometimes really useful. I sprained my waist during rehearsals, but I recovered after a few days. There's still half a bottle left, and I was thinking of sending it to you later. Chapter 4893. Liao Mukin was really afraid of rejection, so he said a bunch of words in one breath. Every time he typed, he sent the last sentence in a voice message. His tone was careful and gentle. It was obvious that he was really anxious and afraid that Pudding would reject him. After all, he was used to being rejected by Pudding. But after he said it, he regretted it. If Pudding rejected him coldly, then his behavior just now would be really bad. After he sent the voice message, Pudding was silent for a moment. Just when Liao Mukin thought it was hopeless, Pudding replied, "Then I'll send someone to get it." "No, I'll drive you there." "There are too many guests at home. It's not convenient," Pudding said. "Then I'll ask my agent to send it to you," Liao Mukin immediately added. "Okay, thank you." This was the first time Pudding was so polite to Liao Mukin. She didn't mock him or look at him coldly. He was so happy that he could fly. It was because the boss accepted his wine. "You're welcome. I'm actually quite surprised that you accepted it." "Huh. Anyway, I'll ask my agent to send it to you right away. Apply the medicine according to the method I sent you." I asked, "Even if it's not a sprain but a cut on the glass, it's still very effective. This medicine will heal the wound quickly, and you won't be in so much pain." Putting away his usual cynicism, Liao Mukin was actually quite a good person. He wasn't a bad person, but he loved to play and was too playful. He always felt like a kid. Pudding was surprised that he had such a warm side. "Okay, I got it." Less than half an hour after they sent the message, Liao Mukin's agent came over. He brought the medicine to Pudding. Pudding applied some medicine according to his method and rested in the bedroom. She didn't know that at this moment, it was very lively outside. Huamin, Qin Shu, Jiang Xiaowei, Wei Liao, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, and Ai Yang, Chun Jie, Jixin, Bella, Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, Lu Yin, and Xiao Fei. These 7 couples actually drank too much. Even Lu Yin, who was known to never get drunk, was a bit drunk. Then in high spirits, she put her arms around his neck and began to sing. Outside Moscow at night. That tune had gone all the way to the South Pole. Huamin, on the other hand, was still listening attentively with his head tilted. Then he took the lead in applauding. The scene was too horrible to look at. "Ha ha! God is indeed fair. Lu Yin has the beauty of a fairy, the skills of a special forces soldier, and a domineering temper. But she sings off-key, ha ha." Tang Chuan wasn't afraid of death, so when the others didn't dare to laugh, he laughed wildly. When he laughed, the entire audience burst out laughing. Lu Yin was infuriated. Of course, she wasn't really infuriated. "Tang Big Mouth, you motherfucker. How dare you laugh at me? Do you believe it? I'll blow you up right now." Go ahead, go ahead. I don't believe that I'm the only one who's going to die with that bomb of yours. Once it's detonated, we'll all die together. Tang Chuan was also drunk and didn't know what to say. Qin Ning kicked his butt. "Don't talk nonsense. Don't jinx it. We can all live to 100 years old." Yeah, I can live to 1,000 years old. Ha! Tang Chuan was very proud. Zhu Lingling glanced at him faintly and said, "A 1,000-year tortoise, a 10,000-year tortoise." Her words made Hua means stomach hurt. She leaned into Qin Shu's arms and laughed wildly. However, as she laughed, she started crying. It wasn't the kind of crying that would cause tears of laughter. It was the kind of crying that was very sad. Noticing that something was wrong, Qin Shu lowered his head and hugged Huamin. In a low voice, he asked her, "Mian, what's wrong?" "Qin Shu, I feel like I've forgotten someone important. This should be the happiest moment of my life. But what have I forgotten?" Huamin's voice trembled. Her mind was in a mess, as if something was about to come out. Chapter 4894. Seeing Huamin cry like a dog, Qin Shu's heart ached. This fearless king was really afraid of Huamin crying. Huamin's tears were the weapon that Qin Shu was most afraid of in his life. So when he saw his wife crying so sadly, Qin Shu tightened his grip on Huamin's waist. "Honey, don't cry. Let's think about it slowly. I'll think about it with you. We'll definitely remember." At the same time, in the parallel world, Suyu woke up alone in the middle of the night. He sat in the star room on the top floor of his private villa and lay on the floor looking at the starry sky. He actually had insomnia miraculously, because when he just fell asleep, he had a dream. He dreamed of the scene in the nightmare world. He dreamed that he was captured by Zhao Qingya. Huamin came to save him with her big belly. Then, the two of them were locked in a small dark room in a sorry state. They experienced so many unforgettable things. He dreamed that Huamin was crying her heart out, He dreamed of the last time they met. In the nightmare, it was the last time he saw her. He also dreamed that he asked Fifth Master to ask her if there was a next life. He asked her to put away her pride and love him so much that she went crazy. Suyu had not dreamed of such a sad scene for a long time. In this parallel world, he had everything. He had family, friends, a wife, a daughter, and a company. But why did he still feel so sad when he thought of the things in that world? The door was gently pushed open. He turned his head and saw Huamin walking in a light pink nightgown. "Come here." Suyu beckoned her with his finger and smiled gently. Huamin walked over quietly and slowly lay down beside him. She was supposed to lie on the floor, but the moment her neck touched the ground, she rested her head on Suyu's thick arm. She smiled gently, reached out, and placed her hand on his waist. "Why are you here?" "I had a nightmare. I can't sleep." "What did you dream of?" She was curious. "I dreamt that I was kidnapped by bad people, and then you came to save me. You were pregnant. We went through a lot together," Suyu said seriously. As for those memories, although he had sealed them away, they were still so clear when he recalled them. It was as if everything had happened yesterday. "You sure are imaginative. You can even dream of such a melodramatic plot. I think you should quit being a boss and write novels instead," Suyu laughed. "With my writing skills, if I were to write a novel, you and Momo would be nothing. It doesn't matter. We're willing to follow you even if we have to eat dirt." In this world, Suyu and Huamin depended on each other for survival. From the time they were in love until they got married, they had never quarreled. The reason was simple. Suyu was always obedient to Huamin. Whatever she said was always right. Therefore, she also knew that Suyu was good to her. She used all her gentleness and tried her best to be good to Suyu. "Mion, yeah, if in this world, a man who is prettier than me, more capable than me, more mature than me, and likes you very much, would you still consider him?" Sometimes Suyu quietly thought about it. He had to admit that Shu was better than him. Shu was tolerant and emotional. He was also very mature and wouldn't be as impulsive as him. "Am I that kind of person in your heart?" Huamin was obviously unhappy. "Don't be angry. I was just making an example." Seeing that Huamin was unhappy, Suyu quickly tried to smooth things over. Huamin thought about it and replied seriously, "I don't think so. After all, I met you first." "What if you met him first?" Suyu asked again. Chapter 4895. Huamin remained silent. Suyu was extremely nervous. He regretted making things difficult for Huamin and torturing himself. What if the answer wasn't what he wanted? How awkward would that be? After a moment of silence, Huamin hugged Suyu tightly and answered word by word. "No matter how good a man appears, I will always tell myself that my beloved husband will be waiting for me in the future. I will not be defeated by the temptation in front of me." After hearing this, Suyu's eyes instantly moistened. He turned over and pressed her under him. "You just want to kiss her until the end of time?" "Daddy, Mommy, what are you doing?" At the critical moment, the little princess woke up. Suyu and Huamin were extremely embarrassed. The little princess was wearing the same parent-child nightgown as her mother. She had a pink headband on her head. Her voice was also childish. It turned out that the little girl was thirsty in the middle of the night and wanted to drink water. After shouting for a while, she got up on her own and realized that her daddy and mommy were gone. Then little Momo, who had the courage, walked from room to room. Finally, she was caught by the two of them on the top floor. "Oh my God! Momo, you climbed from the 3rd floor to the 5th floor by yourself." "Oh my God!" Huamin found it unbelievable. He quickly got up and hugged his daughter tightly in his arms. Suyimo, Suyu and Huamin's daughter, meant meeting in the same boat. She had Suyu's good looks and Huamin's high IQ. She had courage and wisdom that even children her age did not have. She was calm and magnanimous. She was the little princess of a Su family who was loved by everyone. She was Huamin's treasure and Suyu's favorite. Suyu also stood up and took his daughter from Huamin's arms. "Momo, why did you come here alone? What else could I do? Do I have to bring my bodyguards?" "Suyu, Min almost laughed out loud. You can call the auntie in the room next to you. So he was referring to the caretaker who took care of Momo Mo, which was the nanny. Doesn't Annie need to sleep? Do you think Annie is an omnipotent Superman just because she earns a small salary from our family? The little Suyimo was very good at fighting against her daddy. Min almost burst out laughing. Momo, how can you talk to daddy like that? Suyu pretended to be angry. But daddy said that no matter what Momo does, even if it's wrong, daddy will never blame Momo. The little guy's IQ was extremely high. It's over. I really dug a hole for myself. Suyu shook his head and smiled bitterly. But what were you two doing just now? Suyimo's attention returned to the moment when she opened the door. Daddy was dominating Mommy. That position was really not suitable for children. We were playing around, Suyu explained awkwardly. Don't lie to me. Why do I feel like you two are going to give me a younger brother or sister? Little Momo said something shocking. Min and Suyu were so shocked that their jaws almost dropped. Puffed. My daughter. Who told you this? Suyu was impressed. I saw it on TV. In some TV shows, as long as Uncle and Annie do this, Annie's belly will definitely get big, Suyimo said with a nose and eyes. Very good, Suyimo. You're not allowed to watch such TV shows in the future, Suyu ordered. If this continued, his daughter would not only mature prematurely, but she would also become a demon. Ahem, Momo, don't talk nonsense. Mommy and Daddy don't want to give you a younger brother or sister. Daddy loves Mommy a lot, so he kissed Mommy, Min explained patiently. Then, the little guy pointed at Suyu with an aggrieved expression. You liar. Didn't you say that I'm the woman you love the most in the world? It seems that most men's words can't be trusted. Chapter 4896. Suyu and Huamin did not know whether to laugh or cry when they heard Suyimo's words. She was such a young child, yet she was so jealous. Furthermore, she was competing with her mother for favor. How ridiculous! At that moment, Suyu felt like his heart was about to melt from her cuteness. He picked little Momo up and placed her on his stomach. Then, he explained in all seriousness, You're the woman Daddy loves the most in this world, but so is Mommy. Both of you are, and there shouldn't be any conflict, understand? Little Momo thought for a long time and nodded. The atmosphere that he had wanted to take the opportunity to be affectionate was completely ruined by his daughter. The family of three lay in the star room in the middle of the night, chatting and laughing. The emptiness in Suyu's heart was once again filled up. Yes, after coming to this world, he had everything. Everything that he did not dare to imagine before. So what was there for him to be dissatisfied with? In another parallel world, ever since Tang Tianjiu met the Qiao sisters, he did not go home. He ate and stayed at South Hill Manor and had a lot of fun, especially when he liked to stick to Qiao Tuanchuan, although she was fierce and would hit him from time to time. But he was still enjoying it. While Qiao Tuanchuan went to the bathroom, Tang Tianjiao walked to Qiao Yuanyuan. Hey, Yuanyuan, I heard you're a comic fan, right? Yes, I especially like Japanese cartoons. Naruto, Tang Tianjiao asked. Although it was a very old comic, it was remembered by many because it was a classic. Yes, I like Naruto the most. Qiao Yuanyuan nodded, holding the lollipop in her heart. Actually, she did not really like lollipops. It was just that when she ate lollipops, her mind would work faster and it was more convenient for her to think of some things. Although Qiao Tuanchuan was fierce, she was indeed a little inferior to her sister in terms of intelligence. She was the opposite of the Qin sisters. In the Qin family, the elder sister was smart, while the younger sister was silly. In the Qiao family, the elder sister was fierce, while the younger sister was resourceful. Then, who do you like the most in Naruto? Gaara, Qiao Yuanyuan said without hesitation. Haha, that's why I have a limited edition complete collection of Gaara's original work from Japan. Do you want it? In fact, Tang Tianjiao had already found out about Qiao Yuanyuan's preferences, but he still asked Little Bean. Little Bean was an expert at gossiping among the rich second-generation heirs. Basically, she could gossip about anyone. Therefore, after easily finding out Qiao Yuanyuan's preferences, Tang Tianjiao came over to curry favor with her. You're so kind. Xiao Yuanyuan looked at the comic and didn't take it immediately. Although she really liked it, her mother had told her that one who was unaccountably solicitous was hiding evil intentions. Tang Tianjiao didn't seem to be that generous, so he didn't know what he was planning. Of course, take it. It's really for you. Don't tell me you've taken a liking to me. And you want to hit on me? Xiao Yuanyuan asked directly. Tang Tianjiao was so shocked that he almost spat out blood. I say, sister, can you not ask so directly? As a man, I'm embarrassed by your question. But don't worry, I've never taken a liking to you, and I don't want to hit on you. Actually, I want to ask you something. If you can tell me honestly, I'll be very happy. I see. Tell me. Let's see what I can answer. I'm taking your gift. Xiao Yuanyuan was very smart. Before she answered the question, she didn't take it. If she was in a difficult position and couldn't answer, wouldn't it be a slap in the face if she took it? Chapter 4897. Seeing Xiao Yuanyuan's reaction, Tang Tianjiao laughed. Don't worry. You can answer all my questions. They're all about daily life. Then, he picked up the manga and stuffed it into Xiao Yuanyuan's hands. He was really generous. Tang Tianjiu was also a Naruto fan. He had been to Japan many times and went on vacation with his parents. He desperately collected these rare comic books, including Naruto's, Sasuke's, and Gaara's. However, there must be a reason why he was willing to give it to Xiao Yuanyuan. Okay, ask away. Xiao Yuanyuan didn't waste time and went straight to the point. Your sister, what does she like to eat? Russian bread, Russian beer, German-style grilled sausages, and cheese. All right, she also likes cheese pizza. Then, what other hobbies does she have? Cold weapons, pistols, mini grenades, multifunctional bulletproof vests. Swiss Army. Before Xiao Yuanyuan could finish, Tang Tianjiao interrupted her. Okay. Next question. What kind of animals does she like? What kind of pets does she have? Tang Chuan especially liked dogs. When he was young, he had a golden retriever at home. It was super smart. When he grew up, Tang Tianjiao bought a few Alaskan dogs to keep the golden retriever company. The house was very lively. He thought that if Xiao Tuanshuan also liked small animals, he could give her one to make her happy. Cats were very popular nowadays. The short-haired cat was very popular, and it seemed like there was also the gray-haired Garfield. Small animals. Let me think. Does a jaguar count? My sister seems to like leopard prints. The gloves she wears in winter are all made by leopards. My grandfather asked someone to bring a jaguar back from abroad. My sister seems to like it very much and often plays with it. Ahem. Anything else? Tang Tianjiao's legs almost went soft when he heard the word jaguar. He couldn't imagine the scene of the 12-year-old Xiao Tuanshuan being intimate with a jaguar. It was too bloody and inhumane. Other things. King cobras seem okay. My sister likes cold-blooded animals. She had a king cobra when she was young. Later, it bit my sister's maid and was killed by her in a rage. Forget it. Just pretend I didn't ask. Let's change the topic. What does your sister usually like to do? Sports? Mountain climbing? Or travel? Xiao Yuanyuan seriously considered for 3 seconds. Combat, explosives, wilderness survival, training in no man's land, and traversing snowy mountains. All right, he also likes to swim near a crocodile pond in our area. Young Master Tang's eyes widened as he stared at her in disbelief. His voice had also risen by a few decibels. What? Swimming near the crocodile pool. Are there crocodiles? He asked. Xiao Yuanyuan rolled her eyes at him. Aren't you asking the obvious? If there were no crocodiles, would it be called Crocodile Pool? Then, is your sister and crocodile good friends? Young Master Tang asked with trepidation. Xiao Yuanyuan laughed so hard that she almost peed her pants. What are you thinking? Crocodiles are cold-blooded animals, and they are ferocious by nature. Humans cannot tame them. How can they be friends? Then isn't your sister afraid of being? Tang Tianjiao didn't finish his sentence. My sister has a sense of danger, so she swims very fast. In the crocodile pool, she trains her swimming speed. Your sister isn't training to swim. I think she's risking her life. Tang Tianjiao was speechless. So you're interested in my sister? Little Snake Tang, do you want to pursue my sister? Xiao Yuan smiled mysteriously. Chapter 4898. Tang Tianjiao's name had a lot of history because Tang Tianjiao was a flood dragon. Old Master Tang named him after a flood dragon that entered the sea and would become rich in the future. However, the Qiao sisters felt that the flood dragon wasn't a dragon. At most, it was a little azure dragon, which was a snake. Therefore, they deliberately called him Tang Tianjiao. This name was very funny. At first, Tang Tianjiao was quite repulsed, but later, the Qiao sisters got used to it. It's not that. I just think Xiao Tianchuan is quite interesting, huh? Tang Tianjiao scratched the back of his head and admitted it embarrassedly. Haha, you're the first boy who likes my sister in all these years. Your sister is so beautiful. Has no one liked her before? There used to be, but most of the boys who like her were beaten up by her. Why? Tang Tianjiao's expression changed drastically. Because my sister likes to fight with her suitors. Once a week, how long do you think you can last? Xiao Yuan deliberately scared him. Hero, sorry for disturbing you. Goodbye. After saying that, Tang Tianjiao left as expected, running faster than anyone else. Xiao Yuan laughed hysterically. In fact, fate was really strange between people. Logically speaking, the second son of the Qiao family was actually cuter. However, Tang Tianjiao liked the hot-tempered eldest son, which was very similar to his father. He remembered that when Tang Chuan pursued Qi Ning, he suffered a lot. He even disregarded his reputation and took the initiative to become the Qiao family's son-in-law. The Tang family was so angry that they almost fainted. It was obvious that this kid had no bottom line in order to marry a wife. Now that Tang Tianjiao liked Xiao Tianchuan, he started to act. In order to find out her interests and hobbies, he was willing to give Xiao Yuan his comics. This method of picking up girls was even better than his father's. At South Hill Manor's garden, Yang Meirong was already staggering, but she still liked to do some rough work. She was watering Huomin's garden with a watering can. Qin Yuyao followed beside Grandma and silently helped her. Grandma, how many days can you stay this time? I booked a ticket for next Monday, Qin Yuyao said. Next Monday? That's fast. There are only 3 or 4 days left. Yes, Grandma. I can't bear to part with you. You're only in your teens. I don't understand why your parents sent you so far away to study abroad. Can you get used to the food that foreigners eat? Yang Meirong felt very upset when she thought about how her grandson wanted to continue studying abroad. I'm used to it, Grandma. Then, before you leave, tell Grandma that I'll make some dumplings for you in advance. Bring them to eat on the plane. No need, Grandma. You don't have to do these. There are maids at home. Don't be too tired. How can it be the same as the one I personally made? After his grandmother finished speaking, Qin Yuyao felt that he was actually speechless. Old people always had their own waywardness. He reached out his hand and rubbed the tip of his nose. He didn't say anything else. Qin Guo. Qin Guo, a loud voice came from not far away. It was Little Bean. Only she would mischievously call her brother Qin Guo. What is it? Come here for a moment. Quick! Little Bean waved her hand mysteriously and called Qin Yuyao over. He had always thought that his second sister was a person who liked to play pranks, so he usually didn't pay much attention to her. Sis and I have arranged everything for tomorrow. When the time comes, Sis and I will sing a song for Daddy and Mommy. You can join us. I'm not singing. Qin Guo refused directly. Why? Little Bean glared at her little brother. Chapter 4899. Because I think it's low, Qin Yuyao said. Fuck, you're getting hot-tempered. This is Big Sister's idea. After all, Mom and Dad are holding a makeup wedding. As their children, we have to give them something. You know how rich Mom and Dad are. They can get anything they want. It's meaningless for us to prepare gifts. That's why we want to sing a song. What song? Qin Yuyao asked. Where did all the time go? Sure enough what? Little Bean was dumbfounded. Sure enough, you two can sing this kind of old-fashioned song. I won't do it. Guogua looked disgusted. Fuck, what do you mean old-fashioned? This song has so much meaning. Daddy and Mommy will be so touched that they'll cry. If it's just for the effect of crying, why don't you two sing Onion? Guogua suggested. Before Little Bean could speak, he added, it's better to sing with 2 onions in your hands. It'll be more appropriate. Guogua, screw you. Don't be so stubborn. My uncle is your uncle too. Look at your IQ. All these years, your weight has increased, but your IQ hasn't. I feel sorry for Buyuan. Fuck, you little bastard. How dare you laugh at me? Watch your words. If you call me a little bastard, then what's Dad? An old bastard? Then, Qin Yao pretended to shout, Dad, come here. My second sister said you're. Before he could finish, Little Bean covered his mouth tightly. I really have to hand it to you. I don't need you to sing with me, okay? Little Bean was really defeated by Qin Guogua. This guy was full of words, and no one could beat him. Just because he thought singing together was too low, he came up with a bunch of nonsense. Okay, I won't interfere if you two want to sing, but don't blame me for not reminding you. Don't make it too awkward. You don't have to tell us that. We'll do it. Seriously. After glaring at her little brother, Little Bean left dejectedly. In the glass room outside the garden, Gao Ran was picked up by the driver because he was having a meeting in the hall. Gao Buiyuan and Zhu Lingling stayed behind. Zhu Lingling became younger and more beautiful. All these years, she had been living with Gao Ran, although they were not as loving and happy as in idol dramas. However, she was already very satisfied because Gao Ran had never mistreated her and her son. Other than the fact that she was extremely busy as a police officer, she had everything she wanted. Gao Buiyuan had followed in his grandfather's and father's footsteps and was now a potential candidate for the police academy. He was tall and handsome. Zhu Lingling was very pleased. Son, do you want coffee? No, we'll be eating soon. Gao Buiyuan fiddled with his phone and secretly sent Wei Yunshu a WeChat message. Oh, Wei, are you really not coming back? This is her coming-of-age ceremony. Even if you two don't have a future together, we've been friends since we were kids. You shouldn't miss this. I think Pudding will be very happy to see you back and witness this important moment. Gao Fuyan was Wei Yunshu's best friend, even though he went abroad and had a falling out with Pudding. Even though Pudding broke up with Gao Buiyuan, he still kept in touch with him. In the past 5 years, Gao Buiyuan had been to Germany twice, both times during the summer vacation. Wei Yunshu warmly welcomed him and took him to Austria, Czech Republic, and other places. After a while, Wei Yunshu replied. He didn't answer Gao Buiyuan's question directly. Instead, he asked him, after the coming-of-age ceremony, you and Little Bean will be engaged, right? Chapter 4900. Originally, getting engaged was a good thing, but for some reason, after reading Wei Yunshu's reply, Gao Yun only felt his heart ache and he felt very uncomfortable. Once upon a time, he thought that he and Little Bean, Wei Yunshu and Pudding, these two pairs of children who grew up together, would definitely be together and have their wedding on the same day. However, as he slowly grew up, he realized that feelings were the most uncontrollable. Perhaps it was because of his personality, but Gao Buiyuan was thick-skinned. He didn't care how Little Bean bullied him. And Little Bean was such a simple-minded girl, so there was basically no barrier between the two of them. She would say whatever she wanted to say. Even if they quarreled, she would take the phone and shout out her dissatisfaction to let the other party know. Wei Yunshu and Pudding were the exact opposite. Wei Yunshu didn't like to talk. He was a very cold and silent boy. Pudding's inner thoughts were overflowing. Just like her father, she always looked calm on the surface. If one didn't know better, they would think that she really didn't care about anything. There were some things that I wouldn't understand if you didn't tell me. This was distance. The further they got, the more distant they became. Although Gao Buiyuan didn't know the exact reason for that incident back then, he didn't know who Pudding was in her heart. He vaguely felt that Little Bean knew the truth, but he didn't ask. This was because he knew Little Bean's temper very well. If she could tell him, she would have told him long ago. Since she didn't say it, it meant that there was something that couldn't be said. Perhaps it was a wound in the sisters' hearts that couldn't be touched. Therefore, when Pudding and Wei Yunshu separated, he was really sad for them for a long time. He always felt that it was a pity. Now that Wei Yunshu asked him about the engagement with Envy, how could he bear to show off his love in front of his good brother? Therefore, he only answered vaguely, I haven't done my research yet. Uncle Qin Chu and my dad have the final say. I don't care about these things. Uncle Qin Chu and Annie Huamin, how are they? Wei Yunshu asked. Yes, very good. One is still so handsome, and the other is still so magnanimous. What about Auntie Ling? There's no need to worry about my mother. The older she gets, the more she likes to show off. The last few times she came back, she asked me to accompany her shopping. The clothes she bought were all colorful, like a peacock spreading its tail. Wei Yunshu sent a smiley face. He must have been amused by Gao Buiyuan's words. Bro, think about it again. Your family also has a private jet. If you decide to come back now, everything is still not too late. You will definitely be able to make it before the big ceremony tomorrow afternoon. Gao Buiyuan still hoped that Wei Yunshu would come back and fight for it. After all, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Most importantly, none of these elders didn't want Wei Yunshu and Pudding to be together. Okay, I'll continue working. Talk to you later. She still didn't answer Gao Buiyuan directly. This time, she didn't want to surprise Pudding. It was just that after Tiantian's words that day, Wei Yunshu was a little scared. He changed his mind and didn't want to see Pudding. Or rather, he would appear at the coming-of-age ceremony, but he would only watch her silently from the corner of the crowd, not wanting to be discovered by her. It was because Wei Yunshu's pride didn't allow him to lose to someone who had been in Pudding's heart for many years. Of course, he wouldn't completely believe Tiantian's words, so he secretly did some research. In the end, he really did find some clues about Pudding and Liao Mukin. He wasn't afraid of his love rival or losing to Liao Mukin. What was scary was that Liao Mukin looked like the person in Pudding's heart. Chapter 4901. Time passed quickly, and the day of the coming-of-age ceremony finally arrived. Starting at 5 a.m., the whole South Hill Manor was busy and joyful. The whole South Hill Manor was decorated with Chinese costumes and luxurious gold, silver, and jewelry. Even the dining plates were replaced with gold. The expenditure was so enormous. At 6 a.m., Pudding and Little Bean got up and tried on the gowns. The hand-sewn Chinese gowns were bright red and looked stunning. The sisters wore phoenix coronets on their heads and luxurious Han Chinese costumes. At that moment, they looked like the coronation ceremony in ancient times. Lu Yin and Huamin helped them with everything. Lu Yin even joked, "My nieces, they look like the Empress." No. Even the Empress isn't as beautiful as you two. Pudding pursed her lips. If we were in the harem, with my sister's IQ, she wouldn't survive more than 1.5 episodes. Nonsense. I can survive at least 2 episodes. Little Bean defended herself. Everyone burst into laughter. Yeah, it's said that there are 2 sisters in the Han Palace, Zhao Fian and Zhao Heda. They're extremely beautiful and are loved by the emperor, Zhu Lingling said. Jiang Xiaowei chuckled. They're 2 women serving the same husband. It's different from our family. Don't talk nonsense. Little Bean began to argue. My mother-in-law wants my sister to marry Buiyuan. Ha. Shut up. I'll beat you to death. Pudding gave Little Bean a dirty look. In your dreams. It's good enough for you to have one. You want to? Besides, with Buiyuan's personality, he'll be bullied to death if he marries too. Huamin chimed in. At this moment, the security guard at the door rushed in and reported, Madam. What's up? A delivery man is at the door. He says there's a package for you and wants you to sign for it. My package? What's so early? Huamin glanced at his watch and saw it wasn't even 6:30 a.m. Don't express deliveries start at 8 o'clock? This is too strange. Something's wrong. Sis, don't go. I'll go for you, Lu Yin said. No, that person said that as long as Madam goes personally, the item will not be given. It seems like he knows Madam. The security guard said. Really? Huamin raised his eyebrows. Mom, did you buy something urgent? Pudding turned around and asked Wamin, "No, we've already prepared everything. I don't think there will be any deliveries." Wamin was also confused. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't remember when she had bought the express delivery. "Let's go, sis. I'll go with you. Don't be afraid. If he tries anything funny, I'll kill him on the spot." Lu Yin had always been bold. Sensing something was wrong, she wouldn't let her sister go alone. "Yes, let's go and take a look." Huamin put down the hairpin in his hand and handed it to Jiang Shaowei and Zhu Lingling. With Lu Yin, the two sisters walked to the gate. At 6:30 a.m., the sky was already bright. From afar, they saw a figure standing at the gate. He was wearing a yellow vest, the uniform of a delivery man. Huamin was a bit worried. He didn't want anything to happen on such a good day. After all, it was an important day for the children. As Lu Yin walked, she touched the gun on her waist. She pulled out the gun quickly. If the person was a bit strange, she would immediately pull out the gun and kill him. She was very vigilant. When they got closer, they saw that the person's back was facing them. "Hello, I'm Huamin. I'm here to sign for my package," Huamin said politely. The person suddenly turned around. When the two sisters saw who it was, they froze. Lu Yin even forgot to pull out her gun. Chapter 4902. "Stupid girl, you still want to pull out your gun? Are you going to kill me?" That familiar voice sounded. Lu Yin and Huamin both had tears in their eyes. The two of them called out in unison, "Dad." It turned out that Professor Lu was here. "Damn it. Old man, what are you doing? Why didn't you tell me you were coming? I almost thought you were a terrorist. I'm just trying to confuse the public. That's why I disguised myself like this." "So, where's my delivery, Dad?" Huamin wiped his tears and asked with a smile. "Isn't the delivery me? I'm a living person." Huamin was surprised and happy that Professor Lu had learned how to joke. The two of them led Professor Lu inside. Huamin and Lu Yin held the professor's hands, one on each side. Hearing that Professor Lu was here, Qin Shu and Xiao Fei hurried over as well. Dad, everyone's here this time. I'm very happy to see you all," Professor Lu said with relief. "Dad, you just got off the plane? You must be tired. Take a rest and eat something." "No, I want to see the children first." Professor Lu had been thinking about his grandchildren for a long time. His heart was about to grow grass. Huamin and Lu Yin were no longer favored. Now it was Chow Chow, Mumu, Tuan Tuan, Yuan Yuan, and Guogua who were favored. Then, Professor Lu followed everyone to the living room. At this time, Pudding and Little Bean had changed into their traditional Chinese outfits and were looking at themselves in the mirror. The other children were next to them. "Look, who's here?" Lu Yin clapped her hands and reminded everyone. The children looked over at the same time. 3 seconds later, they screamed like pigs being slaughtered. Little Bean was the first to rush over and gave her grandpa a bear hug. "Oh my God, I'm not dreaming, right? Grandpa, you're really here. You seem to have put on weight again, Little Bean." It's such a happy day. Don't mention it." Professor Lu smiled and patted Little Bean's head. Then he looked around at the other children. Grandpa, Xiao Tuanshuan, was as calm as ever. "Hello, Grandpa." Qin Guoguo had always been very polite. "Grandfather." Pudding's smoke rings were a little red. It was a pleasant surprise, so early in the morning. She really couldn't describe her feelings. "How long has it been since we last met? You've already grown so big. Looks like Grandpa is really getting old." Professor Lu sighed. "Grandpa, come. Let's take a family photo. Come. Little Bean loved taking photos. Seeing that everyone was here, she immediately suggested taking a family photo. Lu Yan's expression changed slightly. She knew her father had a special identity and didn't like to take photos or leave any traces. So she looked at her father and asked, "Dad, can I?" "Sure." For the first time, the professor actually agreed. This really made the children very happy. Huamin was also very happy. Jiang Shaowei and Zhu Lingling took out their phones and took pictures in front of them. Then, the family found their seats. Professor Lu sat in the middle of the chair. On his left was Huamin, followed by Qin Shu. In front of him were Qin Zhao Zhao and Qin Mu Mu. Next to Qin Shu was Qin Yu Yao. Standing on Professor Lu's right was Lu Yin and Xiao Fei. In front of the couple were Xiao Tuanshuan and Xiao Yuan Yuan. This was a family portrait in the truest sense. Everyone's face was brimming with relaxed smiles. "Come, say it with me," Eggplant Zhu Lingling yelled. "You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.